That's what I'm talking about. Boy, Matt Chronowolf, who actually did this music, loves that. What's going on, everyone? Welcome, Arvanauts, to a Tuesday stream. It is about 12 minutes after 12 p.m. Eastern p.m., and I hope everyone is doing well out there and is looking forward to more awesomeness with Tolkien and with Adventures in Middle-earth, brought to you by Cubicle 7. Before we get there, I do want to remind everybody about a couple of things. There's the picture I was looking for. I do want to remind everybody, whoa, my goodness, what the flip? Terry Toons has just become an Arva what? Terry Toons has just become an Arva patron. What? Terry is just subbed? Is this what I hear? This Terry Toons that you speak of, this Terry Toons and subbing to people. Well, thank you, Terry. That was unexpected and appreciated. That is very nice of you. Well, that is super awesome. I am excited. That is a really good way to start out the stream. Thanks, Terry, so much. And you guys are going to hear more from Terry Toons and see why she's such a generous, wonderful person in just a moment. But before we get to her, I do want to thank her and remind everyone that what she just did is a good thing that you folks can do as well for the following reason. It is until tomorrow, September. So we only have 2 days left. During which all first-time subs are half off. So if you like what you see here and you would like to be able to inspire our players and to be able to actually inspire them is with the Patreon, but you'd like to be able to do what you just saw with Chaotix right there and Terry now, look at those gold get hypes, and be able to bring those Twitch-wide, all you need to do is hit that purple sub button right above your window and it will be half off the normal cost for this first month. Such a deal. So if you've been waiting for the right moment, now is your moment to feel like a car dealership. But there's a lot of other ways you can support as well. If you haven't done so already, please check out the Steam group with exclamation point Steam group, the YouTube with exclamation point ArvTube that have all the past broadcasts of this campaign and others. Obviously, exclamation point Discord will allow you to get into Discord as well. Hey, what's up, Lauren? How you doing? You got first Tuesday off in months, can tune in. Woot! That's awesome. And so you can do that. And of course, exclamation point Arvtreon. The Patreon is the way that you can actually support. The Patreon is the way that you can get inspiration to inspire these players. And you can find out if you type in exclamation point inspiration who. Thank you, Jagtress. There we go, inspiration-who. That will tell you who can inspire, and if you want to join that group, you can support the Patreon at the $10 or $20 level, and that will give you some inspirations to work with as well. Now, today we are continuing with the Adventures in Middle-earth campaign, Wilderland Adventures. This is episode 2 of Leaves and Stewed Hobbit, and there's going to be some interesting things going on in this one. I'm actually looking forward to seeing how these folks handle what is about to be thrown at them after having defeated some creatures recently, but we'll talk about that in just a moment. I do want to thank, as always, our official sponsor, Cubicle 7, which is responsible for helping us out, sponsoring this campaign. And I do have a major announcement that I want to make, but I will bring in the players before I do that. And so let me, without any further ado, let me unmute my microphone so that they can hear that we're just about ready to go. Then I'm going to unmute Firefox, unmute Zoom, and last but certainly not least, going to go over, over to there, and there are the wonderful team, ladies and gentlemen, of the Wilderland Adventures crew. And I have an announcement that I'm going to make, but I will do it only after I have a chance to let them introduce themselves. And so, as per always, I will head down right below me to the inimitable Trendane Sparks, who is right below me on your video screen. Hi, Tren. How are you?
What does that mean?
How is life in the universe and everything?
What does that mean?
What does what mean?
Inimitable.
Inimitable. You cannot be imitated, sir, under any circumstances.
That's
I
wrong.
learned a new word today.
I can be imitated. That's silly. Of course, I'm not an impressionist, but whatever. So, what was the question?
I was asking just how you were doing.
Oh, wow.
And now I think you've answered it, and so...
I've answered that, yeah. So, hello, everybody. And it was kind of funny because Terry couldn't hear you talking about her a few minutes ago and saying thank you and all that stuff.
Oh, yeah.
That's rather amusing.
Yes, thank you. Well, now that you can hear me, thank you, Terry. It's very kind of you. I appreciate it.
You're most welcome.
You should have seen it, Terry. He was like, oh, what is it?
I will watch the replay.
Yeah, it was good.
I was like, what the flip? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That thing. So, wake up the bear more.
Yeah, man.
I guess I'm wearing a panda shirt. Anyway, so hi, I'm Trent Sparks. I'm a voiceover person guy who's doing his audiobook and some other audiobooks for some other people, namely the Shadowrun and Battletech novels. I will be narrating those at some point. I mean, I have 2 of them. I just need to, I'm doing the. You remember the part where I went through Gray Shade? I was like, "How do you pronounce all this stuff?"
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm doing with the Battletech novel right
Gotcha.
now. I'm like, how do I pronounce this and this and this and this?
That's super exciting, though, guys. I mean, for people in chat, this is a big deal. Like, this is actually the first real official audio work that's been done on Shadowrun and BattleTech as far as audiobook narration in this series for a while. So, I mean, the fact that Trent's doing it is super awesome, and it is up to you guys and everyone else out there that is not listening yet but will be for the VOD or whatever to go and get it so that we can get Trent more work and bring much fame to this channel as I ride his. No, that's not the reason. Ride the coattails all the way to
No, remember, I'm doing yours first.
Yeah.
So the other thing that I wanted to mention is because they hit Kickstarter this morning, is the Mimic chest dice system. Have you seen this thing?
Let me show you.
The what now?
Oh my god, do you have one?
What is this?
Oh my god, you do!
What
Oh,
is
it's
what
so
is
awesome.
what is this? What
It's
what is
not
that?
like- It's not made properly. We've had a few.
It's your
broken-
turn anyway, so you tell him.
Yeah, so they sent one out to us. It's a mimic chest. I did an unboxing video which I broke everything
Oh no.
multiple times. But basically, you can deconstruct this thing, and inside there's like dice.
Dad. It's a dice tray and
See it? I broke it again.
Well, what? Well,
But
I don't
inside-
understand. Okay, yeah, go ahead, show it.
It's okay.
Oh my god!
Yeah, I broke it in another video.
So it's a box that breaks. What is this thing?
It's connected by a series of magnets. This one is like the test run, so they haven't like finished everything. But the run that they're doing on Kickstarter, I think, launches today.
It did.
And yeah, Polymorph Craft sent this out. It's on Kickstarter. I'm sure there's a link somewhere I can find. But yeah, it's kind of good. And also these bits here, this like connects as a coaster. I know I'm like doing this like a sudden ad.
I apologize in advance, and I'm sure that this is because I was up early bringing my daughter over to her carpool to go to school, but I still don't understand what you're showing me. This is a magnet box?
So a box of magnets,
Yeah.
basically, but like it forms into different things. These are, form into dice towers, and
Okay.
there's a rolling tray in there, and you can put your box and the minis and your dice inside. And
I
stuff.
see.
You know the wormwood stuff?
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's like
basically
basically that. Okay, cool.
They're all
You kept
connected
saying
with
mimic chest, and I kept expecting it was actually a small replica of a mimic, like
Well, it is a
but-
little chest, and when you
Yeah, when it
take
forms properly.
because they're all connected by magnets, and when
Right.
you take them apart, it's the dice tray and the dice tower.
Yeah, I got you. Super
Okay,
cool.
Thanks for making an anticlimactic card.
Jeez. No, I kept expecting. I think monster when I think mimic. That's
Me too.
that's my thought. That's awesome though. That's cool. And thank you for the show and tell. And while we're on the subject, hi Will.
Hey.
How is life, sir? How are you?
Yeah, easily breakable. Things going well. Having a good time. Woke up in time this morning. Feeling good. Yeah, ready to play Robar Staunton. Robar Staunton. The Dunedain Ranger. Hunting some fucking shadow creature.
Yes, which was a little disturbing, and relates to another encounter that you had before that. But we will discuss that momentarily. Always a pleasure to have Will on board. Of course, runs Encounter Roleplay, and you folks should be already following Will because he is going places. He's like he's the rising star in WotC's stable of streamers. You do the Learn by Play Tomb of Annihilation on Saturdays. So Will is definitely very good DM and good player, and I'm glad to have him with us. And that leads us on to the fabulously talented Terry Tunes, who is right below with her jaunty hat as per usual. So hi Terry, how are you?
Hello, I'm doing fine. Thank you for having me and stuff. I'm Tari Toons. I'm like sort of a cartoonist person from Germany, and I'm playing Inge, daughter of Ida, a dwarf of Doran's folk, and she is a wanderer, and she was actually born on the surface because she was born after Smaug the Terrible
The dreadful. Yep.
took over the Erebor, and her parents were wandering the roads after that, and she became a stonemason who wanders from building site to building site to build stuff. That's her thing. And she also has a pony.
And
His
she
name
has
is Lilleman.
and she has a pony named Lilleman.
Yes.
And that as we will see, there may be other occasions where the pony will come into play, he said mysteriously. But we'll discuss that.
I
at a
hope
later
that has
time.
nothing to do with the thing we talked earlier about this play.
Yes,
That better
and
not be inspired by
and
that.
just like Equus, no. God, I hope not. But it's a pleasure to have everybody here, and yes, let's catch everyone up very quickly on what happened last week. Our three intrepid adventurers were sent down from the Easterly Inn, where they had been asked to come to the Easterly Inn because of a problem that was being had by Dindy Brandybuck. Who is the Dodie Brandybuck. It's going to continue to bother me. Dodie Brandybuck, who is the owner of the Easterly Inn. His brother Dindy Brandybuck, you found out, had gone off to get supplies, and that meant that it had to go over basically west of the Misty Mountains. And then as he was traveling, supposedly was going to get the supplies and then come back. And he is well overdue, and so he is concerned that something has happened to Dodie is concerned something has happened to his brother Dindy, and asked the party to go down and basically find him. And so the party agreed to do this. They managed to negotiate the purchasing, or the renting, I should say, of some boats from some Bjornings that were in the Easterly Inn. And they took those boats down all the way to the Old Ford, and then traveled by foot from there to the west. Now, on the way down here, they had a meeting with another group of Bjornings. They also had an encounter in our last session they saw this group of what might have been elves singing songs as they were heading off to the west. As they were traveling in that direction, in particular, it affected all the party in different ways. Tawny Bear and Inga felt in some ways strangely relieved, inspired by what they heard. But for Robar, the song to him was one of leaving, of loss, and it sort of set him into an even fouler mood than might have been the case before. Yes, that's right. And in a way, his mood might have been slightly prophetic, because when they got down to the Old Ford and managed to pay a little bit of a toll to the Bjornings who were managing that place, they set off to the west, where they discovered, first of all, a family with a wagon that was stuck in the mud. They helped the family get the wagon out of the mud. And then they ended up staying in this area that looked like a ruined, perhaps the ruins of a town, long since flattened and dead. When they stayed in these ruins, Tawny Bear was rather surprised to find himself, when he awoke, first of all, he was struggling in a dream, and then when he awoke, he found himself buried up to his face in mud, and he had to pull himself out of this, while Inga and Robar were dealing with the appearance of this strange, shadowy creature that gibbered at them in tongues and spoke of strange, dark tidings that they couldn't understand, except that they did pick up their names from its babblings, which was a little troubling as well. They managed to drive away the thing with the use of mostly torches. They were using weapons, but it was not until they began to use their torches that they really started to have an effect. That, plus Tawny Bear's arrival, caked in mud, but stumbling back from where he had been concealed, allowed them to drive this shadowy creature away. And at the last the last thing that we did in the session was the next day they went over to find these skeletal remains. First of all, some corpses that were lying around in the mud next to where Tawny Bear had been placed, but also the skeletal remains of what might have been a warrior or a soldier that had this gem torque, like this necklace around his neck, which they withdrew. And they also discovered some tracks nearby that were goblin tracks. And it was with the goblin tracks that they had discovered that we ended our session last time. And that allows me to bring it over back to the party. So it is morning. It is about 9 o'clock, roughly speaking, in the morning. You've had your breakfast already, but you have found these tracks. And now it's up to you guys.
We got this.
Trying to
They say.
rebuild all the things from last time in my mind.
Yes.
We were looking for a cave, I feel like, in
Well,
Oh,
we're-
that's right.
my head. Not a cave
Yes,
in my
yes,
head.
yes.
in my head.
Yo, no. We were looking for the hiding place of the shadowy creature that we
Right,
fought last
right.
night.
What time is it right now? Alf?
About 9 o'clock in the morning, roughly.
AM? Okay.
Yes, a.m. Yep.
AF.
Yeah,
Okay.
fairly early morning.
so about what time it is for me right now. Yes.
Yes, indeed.
Immersion.
That's what I'm all about. That's how we do things here at R's channel. It's all about
Yes,
the immersion.
But yes, we were following the train tracks, the goblinoid tracks towards the northeast. I think.
That could be right.
Roughly. Thanks for the roughly. Thanks for the follow, by the way, Cyborg Pizza. I like that name.
Very crunchy.
Yes, roughly the northeast. You were a little bit at the moment. Let me sort of ping here on Roll20. You're a little bit south of the road right now, and so yeah, the tracks basically extend up to really more the northwest than the northeast. But they seem to head off in some distance. There's not an enormous number, but definitely more than one goblin for sure.
So do
Wait,
we
we are
wanna
seeing
follow-
goblins now, or are you talking about the tracks?
No, tracks.
Okay.
So do you want to follow the tracks of the goblins, or this just search around for the potential cave or hideout of the creature?
I would go search for the hideout. I think that's.
Okay.
How old did you say the goblin tracks were?
It's not incredibly easy to tell exactly, but they're certainly not ancient, especially given the marshy territory around here. You're in a slightly drier area, but still, probably a couple of days at most.
Okay.
Yeah.
So fresh.
Mhm.
Fairly fresh.
Relatively fresh, yeah.
So, yeah, I would suggest we pack up our things.
Yeah, we don't want to run into any goblins.
Yeah.
Considering the way the last fight went. We want to find this thing that we know can kill us.
Let's go seek out actual danger that's clearly there.
By what manner are we supposed to track it?
Well, just have a look around. I mean, these shadowy creatures, they cannot come out into the broad daylight, and these are marshes, so it should be fairly easy to find a place where a creature such as this could retreat to during the day.
Okay, let's look for any cave systems in the area or tunnels. And if we don't find anything, then maybe the goblins have run afoul of it.
Let's have all of you guys make a perception check for me, please. Let's see what you're able to find.
Whoa.
First
wait,
roll of the
no,
day.
No,
Let's
we
make it a good
actually
one.
get like the bonus thing, right? Because it's perception.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, perception and the double perception in the wilderness. Cool. So that would be.
Hold on a second here.
Oh, I gotta find perception.
So I got a 16.
There we go. Let me make sure that my dice roller was working. Okay, so we've got. Did you say 16? I see 14.
Yeah, because double bonus
Gotcha.
perception because
Gotcha.
of the wilderness.
All right, 16, and then I think I see a 21 from Tawny Bear, and Robar an 8. Robar, you were still too buried in your own doubts and thoughts to focus as much, so you don't get to do the awesome Aragorn, like, put down your ear to the earth and all that. So
Your head in the mud.
Inga, you don't really see anything in particular. A lot of these tracks from the goblins are sort of confused, and then the spots for anything else, like looking for passages or anything like that, doesn't seem to extend beyond the pool where Tawny Bear had been found. You may remember that there were these strange tracks that looked like wooden slats, almost like a sled or something that had been dragged there. But that was only, it only leads to that pool, basically that marshy area where the corpses are. Beyond that, you don't see anything. And Tawny Bear, what you see is that those tracks that I just described, to the extent that you can find them, because already those are starting to vanish and disappear as the marshiness kind of fills in over the tracks. But beyond the pool, they stop absolutely dead. There is nothing going to the west, to the north, to the south that you can see at all. And it isn't like this is a lake. I mean, it's not, you could technically slog across it if you wish. But from where you're looking, you don't see anything that seems to be leading off in that direction. And you're still a good distance, at least half a day's travel until the edge of the mountains. Or even the foothills that lead up to the Misty Mountains. So there's no obvious caves or holes in the ground that you can determine from where you are.
You guys see anything? I'm getting nothing here.
I see an end here.
Where? And I go over and look at where he pointed.
He's pointing right at the center of the pond with the corpses in it.
That's odd. So, can we make anything out in the water?
Wait a minute. Didn't we say that we pulled the bodies out of the mud and burned them last time?
Oh, that's right. Yeah, well, that's true. I did mention where they had been. So that's
okay.
where the pond, it's where the corpses had been.
So,
You can proceed, as I said, you were looking around the outside. You could try to, this is going to sound a little, I don't know, perhaps not something you'd want to do, but you could put your head into the water. I mean, you could,
I have several characters who would do that, but Inga wouldn't.
bad pitch, but good idea. Stick your head in the water.
I'm already slathered in mud. I don't really see how it's going to change.
Yeah, see, you need a bath. You go on ahead.
That's right, Tony Bear.
Night Cyborg.
But given that, yeah, okay. I mean, how is the water as murky as it seems like it would be?
Yes, indeed. Which is why you'd need to. You could also, and I mean, if you want, you could feel around in the water. I mean, that's up to you. But yes, it's definitely something where you
using the quarterstaff.
Okay. So.
Oh yeah, I do the same with the stick of my axe.
Okay, so you begin to poke around. Both of you feel sort of like this chunk, chunk. So it feels as if you're going down through, I don't know, maybe a foot or a little more of mud, and then you hit something hard, but it's not a wooden thunk. It sounds like maybe stone or rock that you might be hitting, or maybe multiple rocks perhaps down below that you're banging into with the bottom of your staff / axe respectively. Actually, Inga, for you have to really reach down to do that. For the quarterstaff, it's more of it sticks up above the water. But you're
I have a long axe, right? It's basically like a quarterstaff with an axe blade.
Sure, that's fair.
end.
That's fair. I guess that's true. So given that fact,
But
and
like dwarven size, so it's not. Yeah,
right. So you're right. It's not like you have to. Right. Exactly. But so it goes down a little bit further than Tawny Bear's quarterstaff. But the point is still that it's down. Like I say, about a foot maybe, and then there's this thunk 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 on the stone or rock or whatever it is down below. Seems to be fairly consistent as well. It's not like dirt stuff. Like most of it seems to be rock at that same level when you get down far enough.
I love the
So
idea that
how much is a foot? So that's like so.
Yep.
This doesn't do any good on the.
It would be a normal. Let's see. I'm trying to think of how to describe
About
it.
the length of your forearm.
Yeah, there you go.
Ah, okay. Yeah, okay. So what I'm doing then is that I take off my glove on my right arm and pull up my sleeve and feel into the water.
Okay. So you so go ahead and make a, let's see.
She's putting her quarterstaff in, and Robar's just put his head in.
Nothing down below. Okay, make an investigation check for me, please,
Yes,
Inga.
sir.
Hey, Classicor, what's up?
Ooh, 21.
Okay, so you are sort of feeling around. It's squishy, and as you're feeling around down below, you feel what seems like a rough, indeed, stone surface, and then you feel something brush by your hand.
Yeah. In that very moment, I jerk back my head and go, yeah.
Okay.
There was something in the water.
Like a fish? A body?
Fishes live in marshes.
Maybe some kind of
like
weird fish.
salamanders and stuff.
Leeches.
It felt slimy.
Leeches. Ew. Well, I mean, this is a marsh, so everything is
Right.
Accurate.
a hagfish.
Weird.
Probably an animal. Like maybe, wait, I have to look up the word. You guys go on. I have to educate myself real quick.
Okay.
Does it seem as though... Well, it didn't bite you or anything, so maybe it is another body in there or something else. Did you
No,
feel...
it moved. On
It
its own.
moved. Did you feel solid ground beneath it?
I did, right?
Yep,
Stone.
you did.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
a
I
rough
did.
stone surface of some kind, yeah.
Yeah, there appears to be a stone beneath the mud. So the marsh doesn't go particularly deep. But if anybody of you guys should get the idea to like walk into the pond, I would warn you that sometimes there can be deeper parts in ponds like these,
Right.
where you
Yes,
can
I
like
know,
get
I
stuck
was-
in the mud and then drown.
Tony knows it also well.
Yeah. Strange. I wonder if there's a way to. Well, it depends how solid the rock is, I suppose. But break the rocks beneath, and then if it's a cave system, it might fall in.
Or if it is some sort of structure that's been covered over by mud.
We got any way of moving mud?
I
Buckets.
You
probably
could
have a
start
shovel
digging.
with me.
Weeks pass as yeah.
We get
This is
completely
Minecraft.
obsessed with this one.
Well, no. It's the only concern would be that if you to try to dig it out, unfortunately, to keep it from just if you think about a sand castle, if you take out sand, it's going to flow back into the same hole. So you would have to literally get out and walk over to an area a little bit of a distance away to dump out the mud. So it would be arduous. I mean, it's certainly possible to do, but it's going to take a good deal of time.
All we need is a little hairspray. That'll keep everything in place.
Yes, exactly.
Underwater, especially.
Well,
Honestly, I don't think we can get anything here unless one of you guys wants to walk into the pond. Because
more.
honestly, I feel a bit too short to be walking into a pond like this.
Right.
But you guys can do it.
I've already been in there once.
Yeah. Okay. So not here is what we're thinking. Maybe elsewhere. Or maybe we should follow those goblin tracks to see if they
Yeah.
ran into the creature.
We should also remember that we are searching for Dindy and time is of the essence.
Yeah, but one of them could have taken Dindy. That's the idea here.
Or killed him.
So, yeah.
Or was him? No, I'm sorry. I'm just just joking.
Dindy takes off the mask.
Damn it!
Old man Dindy, it was you all along.
Would have gotten away with it if it wasn't for you damn kids.
Me and your kids and
Boys.
the dog.
Like a man. Okay, yeah. We should split up and find a trap.
Oh god.
There's
I
only
would
three of
say-
us.
This lead is a dead end. I would go looking for the goblins.
We need
Unless you
something.
guys.
Yeah, let's find the goblins, I say. We should rid their foulness of this land, and maybe they have ran into Dindy. Or
Yes.
will.
I think you mean rid the land of their foulness.
No,
but
rid their foulness of this land. That's exactly what I meant.
I said what I meant, Tony.
All right, so you guys head off then. Now, or I should ask, are you going to try to head straight west from here, or are you going to head back to the path, which is just not that far away, but just a little farther south and then west? And do you want to stick right with the tracks, or do you want to stick to the road, basically? And before you answer that question, from the road, you could actually see some of the tracks crossing and crisscrossing, but you will have to leave the road for periods of time to really follow the tracks completely, if you follow what I'm saying.
Well, given that this is a marshland, I would stick to the road because this will probably keep our feet drier than walking through
I have a
proper.
protective layer of mud right now. I'm fine.
Well, I mean, it won't
Mudding.
save you if you accidentally step into a soft spot and just like whoop,
Yeah.
are gone. So
Like that scene in Labyrinth when Ludo would.
yeah, I don't want to reenact the scene from the Never-Ending Story.
Right.
My horse.
Oh, God. That's
Bring your horse to the marsh.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Best, most horrifying scene since Shadow of the
And
Colossus.
The
Spoiler.
actor just that.
Oh, God,
he
yeah.
had
That
to stop shooting for 2 weeks.
was so bad. I mean, so bad as in, like, rough, not bad. It was really well done. It's just very rough. Although I still think, quick side note, I still say that wolf trend is the greatest.
Don't.
I'm telling you, man, the greatest. The nothing. Oh God. All right. Anyway,
that is my boyfriend you're talking about.
That thing was legit. Like even when I was a kid and I was like, this is scaring the ever living crap out of me. It's still awesome. Like it was just, oh man. Anyway.
I love the sound of his nose.
Wrong
Yeah.
franchise.
Oh, so cool. But regardless, back to here. So, okay, you guys,
Sudden flashback.
you guys set off to the west. And as the day progresses, you travel for probably a good hour and a half following these tracks. And as you go, you begin to notice that there are more of them. More begin to join these tracks from other areas, some to the south of the road, some to the north of the road, until you're following what seems like a good patrol size or more of what goblins would be. Right around...
How many are we talking about now?
That's right. Right around midday, I need everybody to make a survival check. If you've got survival, otherwise wisdom I'll take too, but survival would be optimal.
Since there are like old town ruins around, have there been any like remains of any like guard towers, something that's like higher up that we could climb onto to get a better look around?
It's a good question, but for the most part, no. These walls are so broken down that at most you get a few bricks basically above the surface. However,
Like,
you
no
do...
trees, right?
That's correct. But you do see the foothills of the Misty Mountains are coming into sight. So you do see ahead of you larger hilly areas and some, looks like plateaus maybe, on which there might be buildings that are higher up. You can't quite tell because you're not there yet. But definitely the land is getting hillier as you go. Hey, what's up, DeRoyne? Okay, so we have we got an 11 from Tawny Bear, 16 from Inga. Survival is what I'm looking for.
Oh.
Get these rolls out of the way now, Robar, right?
Yeah.
Like
I
see nothing. You're like looking the other direction.
I was just going to say over here.
What do your plain human eyes see?
What do your reverse human eyes see? Okay, so Inga, you in fact are able to see it, and perhaps it is because of your connection to Lilliman, but you actually see over a small rise, some motion on the horizon. And as you kind of narrow your eyes, you see what you think is a pony. It seems to be just by itself. There doesn't seem to be any rider, but the pony is kind of whinnying and sort of bucking a little bit. You're still pretty far, a decent distance from it, and kind of like stamping and moving around like it's agitated for some reason. You don't see anything around it, but it's, as I said, it's over this little rise, and then you're looking down in this flatter area, and it's standing more or less in the middle of it.
Okay, so I stop walking and go, guys, do you see that over there? And pointed to the direction where I saw.
Once pointed out, you guys can both see what she's pointing at, this pony. Yeah.
Pony.
Right. I thought it
That's
was
odd.
It's not our pony. It's not your pony, is it?
No.
Nope,
My
you're-
pony is here.
Lilliman's right here.
So if Lilliman's right here.
Then who's that?
Find out next episode.
It's Lalaman, its evil twin.
The same. Does it look like the same pony?
As Lilliman? No, or
Yeah.
the same kind of pony?
Lilliman.
Too
Yeah.
far. Too far. You'd have to get closer to see.
Okay, so we can't even determine color.
No, you can definitely determine that. It's probably kind of a light brown, but beyond that, you're still a little bit far from it. It's pretty clear, though, that there's nothing around it unless whatever it is exceedingly well hidden, because there's not a lot of bushes or anything around it to basically conceal it, which is another reason that it's odd. It doesn't seem to be eating or anything. It's just kind of like, you can't hear anything either yet, but stamping and agitated.
Did Dindy have a pony?
Probably if he went with a
I
caravan.
was going to say if he was going with looking for supplies, I would imagine so.
Yeah.
He would have probably had several ponies and a cart with him, at least.
But where are the others? Yeah. Well, let's head towards that pony and see if it's got anything on it. Possession, saddlebags,
Actually,
meat.
I smell a trap. I would suggest that at least one of us goes off-road and tracks us from the side while the rest approaches through the road.
Well, I'm pretty stealthy when I want to be, so.
Yeah, how about Tony, you and I, we stick to the road and Robar follows us off-road.
Yeah.
Don't understand. He'll be chasing a poker. You don't understand.
Okay, so you guys are going to go straight for the pony. Robar will flank off to the side. Robar, make a stealth check for me, please. Let's see how well you do at this.
Okay, I'm famously good at this.
Oh,
There you go.
Double nat 20.
So
recommend
Robar,
taking the natural 20.
so Robar just goes over the side of the little rise. He's like, "I shall return," and then like elevator like descends where you just like, wait, where did he go? With all of his
two natural 20s, it's like Siegfried and Roy.
yeah, exactly. That's true. Yeah, too. Yeah, with his Dunedain skills, he just vanishes on the wind. So Robar, this is what your heritage has taught you. You are extraordinarily stealthy. And as you move up, as you're walking along the side while Tani Bear and Inga are going directly for the pony, you can see an increasing number of tracks. So more or less, you're kind of like looking down a little bit into a very small, narrow valley. So I don't want to overdo this. It's not really like a chasm by any stretch, but you can sort of see down into it. And you see, Robar, lots and lots of tracks sort of leading up and then down the side of this valley. But you can also tell, and don't even need to make a perception check to tell, that these are no longer just goblin tracks. There are human tracks here as well, at least. Humanoid, but not just goblin or orc. Something else here as well. Multiple something else's.
Okay. So, I guess I'm away from the group actually at this point.
Yes.
So,
Yep. You are. I assume you're paralleling them, right, as they go?
Yeah.
Okay. So Tani Bear and Inga, as you get closer, you can see that indeed it is a small pony. It looks to be maybe somewhat similar to Liliman, although a little bit larger. The hooves seem maybe a little bit thicker. Maybe it's more of like a workhorse. Liliman's kind of an all-around, well-rounded horse, whereas this one seems to be more designed to be carting things. But the thing you notice most of all is sticking out of its hindquarters is an arrow.
Okay, so before I approach the pony, I give Tony the rope on which I have Lilleman follow me.
Right.
I don't know the English word.
Lead.
The Lee, okay, the Lee. And I put my hands up and I slowly approach the pony.
Does it look like the arrow's supposed to be there? No.
Pointing towards something.
Animal handling
Is it
would be a good check here, Inga. Yes, it is definitely not a Halloween arrow. Let's put it that way. This thing's legit.
Animal handling, yes.
And yeah.
Oh, 9.
So it definitely is kind of like sort of whinnies slightly. You can hear a little bit like there's a little bit of pain that's evident in its whinny, and it sort of steps back from you, kind of stamping nervously. You can see that there's blood trickling down from the arrow, which is somewhat congealed. The arrow has obviously been in the flank of this thing for a while, and so the pony looks pretty terrified to you, and is kind of shying away as you get closer.
What's the ground like here?
Mostly it's actually dried up considerably, so now it's mostly like grassland, very flat, very low grassland, and also it's patchy, so there's spots that are just sort of dirt, and as I said, flat, and then you're in the middle of this very shallow kind of, I really don't want to overdo valley, kind of a depression in the earth, really. So,
I was going to bring Liliman a little bit closer, so that each other pony can see that there's another, kindred spirit here.
Make an animal handling check for me, Tiny Bear, please, if you have it.
This is going to go great.
You accidentally punched Liliman in the face, and
See, better than I did.
yeah. So as you bring Liliman a little closer, the pony, the strange pony, sees Liliman and kind of and sort of calms a little bit, and sort of stops moving backwards, and so Inga, you're able to get a little closer, and it seems a little more inclined to, like, it moves a little bit away from you and a little more towards Tawny Bear and Liliman, so it seems to be kind of like, feels more comfortable with the pony than it does with you at the moment. It's not bolting though.
Huh. Yeah, so I step to the side so that Tawny can do a thing.
Okay. Do you want to bring? So are you going to continue to move forward, Tani, or what are you doing with Liliman?
Well, mainly I was bringing Liliman over to try to assist.
Okay.
Okay.
So if you go alongside Inga, you can actually go with Liliman as they walk, and you're able to, like the pony sort of stays there. As you get closer, you can see that this arrow is rough hewn and wicked looking. It's definitely. You can't obviously tell until you remove the arrow what the arrowhead looks like, but the shaft of it is thick, made of some kind of black yew wood, perhaps, and rough. This is not an elven arrow or human, as far as you can tell.
Or dwarven.
No, the dwarves would be much better at doing it than this.
Yeah, probably. This. I think goblins were here, or maybe orcs. I don't know. I can't tell yet, but. Do you have any experience on treating arrow wounds on horses?
I only really acquired what ponies I have after the Battle of Five Armies, and they were in considerably better shape. Is there a bridle or anything on this horse?
There is not actually. There doesn't seem to be any saddle, bridle, stirrups, anything like that on the horse. But the horse, you can tell, Tani, is pretty well cared for. Obviously, it's currently in pain, but it does not look emaciated as if it's been wandering in the wild for days or whatever. So it's been well taken care of, but doesn't have any obvious marks of ownership or bridle or tackle or anything.
I go to Lilleman and rummage through my through the saddlebags and get a rope from it to not a makeshift bridle or like a noose or something like to.
Okay.
While you're back there, if you have any food.
Oh yes, good call.
It lets out another.
I get a carrot. From
it lets
my
out
bag.
another like painful whinny or cry of some kind.
So after I made the makeshift bridle, I get a carrot, and like in one hand I hold the rope, and then in the other I hold a carrot, and I try to lure the pony over to give it the carrot and put the bridle.
The
over
pony does not come any closer and does not seem to be really interested in the carrot. It doesn't seem to. It sort of like looks a little bit, but it seems to be kind of. Its eyes are a little wide, and it not as terrified as it was when you first approached, but it again gives out a little bit of that whinny.
So what I do instead is that I feed half of the carrot to Lilleman in a way that the other pony can see.
Okay.
And maybe gets jealous. Also wants
it runs at you and takes the whole carrot. No, it watches, but it doesn't step forward to take the carrot.
Okay, so Honey, any ideas?
While getting ready to answer that question, I'm going to just pan around and make sure that we're not being snuck up on.
Make a perception check for me.
I'd also like to be kind of watching the group.
Yeah, but I was about to just come back to you in just a sec, Rabar, about that. Yeah, so make a perception check for me, Tyler.
19.
Okay. And Robar is able to see. Okay, Robar is 19. Okay. Also, Robar, make another stealth check for me, please.
That one's. Oh, what did I?
Oh, what?
Don't call your shot. So,
Yeah, really.
so as Tawny Bear's looking around, you look around and then you hear like this, and you see like sort of a like a what's it called? Freaking meerkat, like. And then like it looks back down, and it's actually Robar, that you can just sort of briefly see for just a second. It was all going so well, Robar. But no, there doesn't seem to be anything else. Thank you for the follow, One Tail. There doesn't seem to be anything else around you. But you do notice that these tracks, Robar. You can now see that Inga and Tawny Bear, of course, are tending to the pony, and you can see that there are a number of these tracks, as I mentioned, leading up. But most of them seem to be leading up and down. and all sort of gathering together in one direction, more or less to the northwestern side of this little basin or bowl that you guys are in. So this basin or bowl thing is slightly to the north of the road, and these tracks lead to the northwest out of it. And so, in other words, there's a bunch of, it's almost as if a group gathered here and then exited that way, from what you can tell. So there's more of them sort of exiting out in that direction.
Okay.
But that's what Robar notices, Tani and Inga. You're still involved there.
Yeah.
Yay! Thank you, Classicor. Thank you for your support, man. I appreciate it. Thank you for the sub, man. I assume it's a sub. Thanks, dude.
Get hyped.
Yeah. Seriously, let me see those get hypes, please. Thank you, man.
Yes. Get hyped.
So,
So I'm going to take the Lilliman's lead and pass it to.
oh, and Brahms with a resub. Thanks, Brahms. Thanks, dude. I actually met Brahms this weekend. Sorry to.
I was going to say, and,
Thank you.
and you guys
Thank
were
you, guys.
talking about me. You're not over there. You're up there. So yeah, I was going to say I was going to pass it off to Inga, but
Pass it to the other pony.
well, effectively, what I was going to do is in the process of passing the lead over to you, was going to be moving Lilliman closer to the other pony, but all as kind of like one contiguous movement, so that it didn't seem like I'm handing off the pony and then moving towards Mystery Pony.
Okay.
Basically, what I'm planning on doing is trying to get closer to the pony and make sure, check and see whether it's been hobbled in place.
Okay.
Or if it's, well, you said there was no bridle or anything, so it's clearly it's not staked, but I'm figuring it could be hobbled.
Okay.
And so I wanted to check for that. And if I can get close enough to actually get my hands on it, then try to make my way back and get the arrow out if possible.
It looks like you've been able to... Oh, thanks, X5. It looks like you've been able, as you get closer to it, it seems to have calmed down enough that you're able to come close to it. And you get the sense, Tani, that this thing is clearly not a wild horse, just based on what I mentioned before about its breed and everything. It's domesticated. It obviously was, used to being handled by, the mortal races. So as you get close to it, it's still a little bit... trembles a bit as you touch it, but it doesn't sort of flip out. Make a medicine check for me. Let's see what you can do about that arrow, since you wanted to try to move it if you could.
Okay.
13.
Okay. So yeah, you're able to remove the arrow actually with not that much difficulty. Fortunately, the arrow was more or less in the surface of the flank, kind of at an angle, so it's certainly painful, and as you remove it, the pony's like, but not, something that's going to cause, from anything that you can tell, permanent damage. The arrowhead is barbed steel. This is designed to inflict pain, and even without being an expert at all things war in all contexts, you pretty much know that this has got to be an orc or a goblin arrow of some kind that was into it. It doesn't look, or you would guess that it's not poisoned, although it's not certain to tell. But yeah, this was done here with a purpose. And as you're sort of looking at the arrow, you can also see behind the pony that there are these, obviously lots of hoof tracks, but there are tons and tons of goblin tracks heading off to the northwest. So it's almost as if, that's confused with the hoof tracks on top of it. But the point is, this is not really marshland anymore. So you can see that there are goblin tracks here, and these are recent, maybe less than a day old.
So the hoof tracks are on top of the goblin.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So the horse came here after the goblins passed.
It's a good assumption.
Wait, do the tracks go off the road or are they on the road?
They are off the road. You guys are actually slightly to the north of the road, and they go off the road heading to the northwest towards a couple of nearby foothills. And there's one foothill in particular that you can see. It's probably still a good couple hours from you, but that rises, that seems like it's makeable maybe. We're now talking about 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon, by the way.
Any brand or any other kind of mark on the pony?
No, not that you can see.
How far away are we from the old fort, from the bridge?
You are a good... Thank you for the follow, Valerian Gamer. At this point, you're probably about 2 days' travel. And although this horse is not hobbled, Tawny Bear, it definitely seems like it's kind of tired. I mean, again, it's not starving, obviously, but it definitely does not seem like, I'm all set, load me up, boss, even though this is a surface injury.
I would just send the pony into the direction of the bridge and leave it to itself while we go search for the goblins, unless you also want to pack pony.
Well, depending upon Dindy's state, when and if we find him, we might need the added carrying capacity. And while I'm sure whoever this is, it Mayor?
Yes.
I was going to say flip.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. While I am sure she probably knows the way home, I still don't like the idea of releasing her into the wilds with goblins who have already taken at least one shot at her. And whatever that other thing was.
So you want to take her with us to the goblins?
I think it might.
You've already taken one arrow.
Oh, right. Right, yes.
Yeah, I'm the talking bush.
You're the meerkat. It's already taken one arrow.
You hear sort of an airy voice. One arrow.
So he's here, right? Or is he not?
He is still observing you from a distance, although Tawny Bear knows exactly where he is. But
6 of one, half a dozen of the other. We could take.
I mean, we are gonna come back here this way, right? Maybe at this point we should just leave the pony here. Go check out the goblins, and then we get back to the road, then decide what we do with her.
I would sooner turn her toward the fjord and let her go than tie her up here and let that shadow.
No, we don't have to tie her up. I mean, where would she go? That's the thing. Like, she wouldn't just run into the marshes. Like, no horse is that stupid.
I have known some stupid horses. Let's be clear. Run into a burning barn. Okay, that's a great plan.
I mean, if we are going to go after the goblins can't go after her. So
I'll kind of cock my head. Son, what do you think?
To the bush.
Yeah,
Oh.
basically.
I just look at the bush like, what?
And the bush looks back.
yeah, you can, I don't know if you
made.
do you want to continue your I mean,
I think at this point the jig is up.
I was gonna say, are you gonna like leave the bushes and head down to them?
I'll come over and say, okay, what do you guys got here? What's the choice?
Hello to you too, Robar.
Hey. It's great
The
to see you.
question, there are layers to it. It seems we're set on following after the goblins, but do we take this young lady with us?
I'd say so. I mean, if we find Dendy alive, then we'd rather just pack him off on the horse and have something extra. Or if we find any kind of refugees or survivors, we could send them off on it. It's already survived an arrow, so it clearly doesn't mind too much.
All right. Then I take the rope I got ready and put the makeshift bridle on the lady.
Okay. She seems much more calm since the arrow has been removed.
And I feature the rest of the carrot.
Dang it!
Yeah, she does. She eats the carrot now. She does indeed eat the carrot. Okay. So with the bridle, you said that you're taking her. I'm sorry, you're taking her with you, or you're
Taking her with us.
Okay.
Yes.
So, all right, you guys head off to the northwest then, where the tracks seem to gather. What? 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 I did? What?
What was? Sorry, what was that thing you just held up, Terry?
That's a pencil case. It looks like a banana.
Okay, all right. It's just
for
No,
some
it's
reason,
not what you think
no,
it is. Thank
no.
you.
A, it is not what I think it is, and B, I was not thinking it was what you thought I thought it was.
The fact that you can say no to that already proves my point.
I was thinking it. I was.
Some on Twitter yesterday, somebody tweeted, something like "Behold the glory of the balloon cooked hot dog," and it's like a balloon, and like they're squeezing it, and like a hot dog shoots out of it with ketchup, and it was just horribly disgusting looking, and I just when you held it up, because it's a very white balloon that they're using when they, and it's like that canned chicken thing where like that whole.
Yeah.
That's what it reminded me of.
Woof.
Sorry. Please, thank you. Now, okay. Somebody else feels.
Yeah. That's a little bit. Although it's just funny that I was like, I thought you were reacting to Northwest. You're like, oh, Northwest.
No.
It's disgusting that direction.
Nobody goes north.
No one goes Northwest. Okay,
Sorry,
so you guys, that's okay. So you guys head up this sort of this shallow slope, this gentle slope over out of the basin, and continue to the northwest. So you continue this way for a few hours with the foothills drawing ever closer. It is, you may remember, in the fall, late fall, and it gets dark earlier these days. And actually, this is appropriate because here in the United States, it's actually starting to feel like fall for a change, which is
For you.
kind of nice for a change. Yeah, where we are.
Yesterday,
It was freezing.
It were 25 degrees Celsius here. I died.
Oh my
outside.
God! Yeah, no, it's
Way
getting
too warm.
it's getting nice. It's getting nice and cool out here. And by the way, Will, enjoy. It's going to get worse. You have gone more into it. Exactly. Anyway, so as you guys continue, and the light begins to fail, you see more and more of these tracks beginning to appear, and now they are joined by larger tracks, more than just human-sized larger, something considerably bigger than that, and a few of them. So now at a certain point, it feels like, I mean, there could be 50 goblins here if there's one. I mean, there's a lot of tracks, all of which are sort of coming in from different places and then are all heading in that direction. And as twilight begins to set in, you cross over one large rise, and then you see on a nearby hilltop a large bonfire, clearly discernible in the wilderness. And you see this bonfire, the light sort of giving off up top.
Can we see anybody near the bonfire?
It looks like there are some. It looks definitely like there are some figures around the bonfire, but you can't really tell what. You don't, however, you can hear sounds from here. The sounds are actually carrying, and you don't hear what sounds like goblin, or you don't hear any sort of rough angular language coming from there. You hear some scattered bits of conversation, but what you pick up seems to be English. People talking to each other in the English language.
The Queen's language.
The Queen's language, so to speak.
Do we see any tents or banners or something?
You do see a few sort of flittering, maybe flags, or but flags a little bit too much for it. Pieces of rags on sticks might be a better way to put it. There might be a big wagon, and you think maybe something like that. But again, this is a little bit hard to tell. This is all just what you can see at the outskirts. You'd have to get close and up to it, and you can actually see that the tracks that I mentioned are sort of follow up to this road that you begin to see, kind of a large path is sort of meanders in out of the grassland close to where you've been following these tracks, and then begins to wind up towards the hillside. And the hillside is grassy down below, but then as it gets higher, you can see that it's got lots of rock and stone, and the grass sort of drops away. But it seems like this path is the major way to get up to this bonfire.
Let's follow the path. I mean, these guys aren't goblins. That means they're good to me. Right, guys? This might be dandy.
I
No?
would suggest one of us go sneak up to there first and have a closer look before we make any call like that.
All right, but just saying, last time I snuck up on people, I got the wrong impression that we were with the goblins. So
I take Robar's hand and look up to him. I believe in you. Now go.
It's just like single tear rolls down.
No, like with a dead face expression. Basically,
Yeah.
you can do it.
I believe in you.
Okay, so Robar, you're going to make your way up to the side of the path, basically.
I'm gonna try.
All right, let's see how you do. Let's see how you do.
Dude, you still should have your inspiration, right?
That's true. You got your inspiration. If you really want to
So-
be, you could do that if you want.
All right. You know what?
Oh,
You know what? She believes in me.
That's what matters.
Oh,
The power of friendship did not help you.
Okay. So you make your way up. Now, are you staying? You're stealthing like right near the path, basically, as it winds up, or like how are you
I think
making
so,
your
yeah.
ascent?
I think kind of. Well, actually, I'd like to be follow the path up, and by the time that I get to the camp, I don't want to be entering into the obvious entrance into the
Gotcha.
camp.
So as you do that, you stay to the side of the road to do that. You can kind of go up the grassland, and you notice, Robar, that as you get sort of closer to the tip of the hill, there is an area that looks like you see a few stones littered here and there, clearly worked stone. At some point, they may have been like stones for fortifications, let's say, but there is an earthen bank that basically is at the edge of this plateau. So at the top of this hill, there's like an earthen bank, and you can see that the path goes between a gap that exists in that earthen bank. This bank is not natural. You can tell that it was definitely built this way, that it was built up basically around the top of the hill. So it's almost kind of like a rudimentary fort, you might almost call it. And you can see that there is a young man standing right inside the earthen bank, like right at the gap, basically, looking outwards. You can see that he's got sandy brown hair. He has some kind of rough leather armor. He is carrying a leather shield and has a short sword, and he is staring outwards. He doesn't seem to have noticed you yet. He looks pretty young.
And I don't spot any halflings, hobbits, rather.
Not from where you are, but again, you're still below the level. Okay. You would need to be able to. It's going to be tough because you'd have to actually pull yourself up the earthen bank and over, or get onto the path, and then you're going to be clearly obvious at that point.
Okay. Young guy, human, sword in his hip. Okay, I'll come back down to the group because I feel like I've already pushed my luck as it is.
Okay.
A wise decision, probably.
Yeah, thank you. I scurry back down the hill and I say, okay, so I see a guy up there. It looks like they've built this encampment. It's not naturally built in this embankment. There's a guy up there with a sword, looks kind of young. There are undoubtedly others up there, but he's human, not a goblin. He may have been some of the caravan guards that Dendy went with because he was traveling with some humans, was he not?
And even if not, they may have met him along the road.
They may well have done.
I would say we go check it out together. Approach them openly.
I agree.
On the road.
Okay. On the road again.
Hands up, kind of off weapons kind of approach.
Okay.
Easter's on its way.
So as you get up to the top, and I'm going to bring us all over in just a minute over to this section.
Battle screen.
That's nonsense. I'm sure it's fine. But as you are coming up, the person who's standing there, the sandy, brown hair, says, "Oi, hey, stand your ground, stand your ground." And he sort of says to the lawyer, Ingar, come here. And now I'm going to bring all of you.
I just look at my companions and go like,
No, not.
does he mean me? What?
Okay, so if you guys could pull your tokens onto this, you can see where you are. Basically, you guys are right there, pretty much, at the entrance, or I guess there, because you're on the path now, of this thing for this ring fort here. Awesome. So you guys are standing there, and as you're there, you hear this sort of booming voice. What is it, lad? Like we don't have enough to attend to. And then you see this very large person actually pretty confident that this is a Bjorning, if you had to guess.
I was gonna say.
Yep, very large person who comes up. He's got a great. He's wearing, again, similar, leather tunic and outfit, and he has a hat with a cockle shell in it, like basically this great sort of flourishy hat almost, which is not typically what Bjornings wear, actually. But he is limping forward, badly limping as he does. And he says, "All right, what is it?" And then he catches sight of you and he says, "Aye, all right, what be your business?" And behind him, you can see there are two more sort of young men, all, again in leather armor. One of them carries a bow, and another one with an axe. The one with an axe also has a shield, a simple wooden shield. And they kind of are sort of standing behind him, looking at you a little bit nervously. State your business.
We are here looking for a friend of ours named Dendy Brandy Bottom.
Brandybuck.
Brandy Buck.
And he says, "Oh, well, if that's who you're looking for, you found him." And he jerks his head over, and you can see
You're taller than me.
there is a hobbit who is currently sitting not far from the fire. He is rocking back and forth and seems not to be paying attention to what is happening at the entrance. And he says, "You found him for as long as you can keep him. You're not going to have long to go. There's goblins, and they're coming for us."
We saw their tracks. We're here to help. How many are they?
That's a tale indeed. If you're going to come in, do so. And then he turns around and he notices that the other two guards are behind him, and he's like, "Tom and Bill, what are you doing? Get back to your spots, you fools." And they sort of sheepishly like, "Oh, sorry. And they stumble back over to, there looks to be one of them, Bill, who's got the bow, is stationed over back here. And then you've got Tom, who's basically clambers up onto a side of the earthen bank and is this way. And you can now see, now that you can see inside, this is not a massive interior area, but there is indeed a bonfire. There are a couple of wagons, two of them. There's one pony that's there. And then there's a couple of sort of bedrolls laid out. And one of the bedrolls looks like perhaps what this big guy just may have stumbled out of, because it looks fairly close to the entrance. And in the fort, literally, is just the bow guy, the sword guy. You don't know the names yet. You don't know know the names yet. Bow guy, sword guy.
It's not that. I mean, Ingar just said their names. You were describing them, and I was like,
"Oh, that's right. He did name them. That's right."
I'm
yeah.
right. I'm typing out the names so that I have them in my notes.
Oh, okay.
I'm
Yeah, that's right. He
like,
did just name them.
Bill,
I forgot about
Bow.
that. Yeah,
No,
Bill.
not
There's
Bill,
a, yeah,
Bill with the bow.
Yeah, that's right. Bill the Bowman, actually. So Bill the Bowman, and then Tom is the other guy
Bombadil.
who's standing over
Sorry,
here.
I had
Yeah, not Bombadil. Okay, and then there's the guard and Ingar himself, who are standing right in front of you, and then Dindy, and that's it. So there's basically about 5 or 6, people inside this fort, and that's it. Besides you guys, and he says, so then he turns back to you and he says, "All right, get inside. We don't have much time to explain."
I get inside.
I follow.
Okay, so go ahead and move your figures inside here. And let's see. I should have.
And of course, we bring the horses in.
Yes. No, we leave them outside so that the goblins can eat them.
Right, smearing blood all over them.
Yes.
We use them as bait. And okay. Where's my thing? All right. So I'll bring that in later on. Okay. So you move inside. Hang on one second. I'm just pulling up. Where's my thing? No, not you. There we go. That's what I'm looking for. Okay. So we've got this guy standing here. We've got another one standing over here.
So there are 4 guys, right? Did I get this right? There's
and
Ingar,
plus
then
Dindy.
there's Dindy, and Bill, and the 4th one was?
There's the guy in front of you whose name you don't know. There's Bill and Tom. Bill is the guy with the bow. Tom's the guy with the axe. and then there's Ingvar and Dindy himself. So
Ingvar, okay.
So five guys. Ingar, not
Yeah.
Ingvar. Beg your pardon, Ingar.
Wait, Ingar, Bill, Tom, Dindy, and
Mr. Unknown Dude.
Right.
the mysterious stranger.
And you could certainly ask his name if you wish. That's up to you.
Yeah, right. After we walked in, I'm like, I suppose introductions are in order. My name is Inge. I'm daughter of Ida. Then I point at Tony. This is Tony Bear. And over here we have Sir Robert Staunton. And who would you be, if I may ask?
And he, this is Ingar that you're directing this to, by the way?
Yes.
Okay.
No, wait, the guy who has introduced, like, who are we talking to? Like,
You
was
were
it
you were
Ingar?
talking to Ingar, so I'm assuming that was the same one. He says,
Yeah.
so he nods and he says, "Aye, that's Bill the Bowman over there, Tom Lumpyface," and he points out Tom is the guy with the axe over here, and Andy Blackthorn standing at the gate. I'm Ingar, and our charge, such as he is sitting right there. And the aforementioned charge, Dindy, is continuing to rock back and forth, still not paying a lot of attention to you.
What was Tom's last name?
Lumpy face.
Lumpy face.
And not making it up. Literally his name.
He looks a bit like doesn't help if I can't think of the guy's name. Never mind.
Yeah, that guy.
He played Commander Adama in Battlestar Galactica.
I have not seen
James Olmos? Edward James
Yes,
Olmos?
thank you, Edward. Edward James
Edward
Olmos.
James Olmos.
Or Tony Amendola, who played Brightac in Stargate SG-1. Anyway,
That would also get the job done.
yes.
Well, Ingar, nice to meet you. I don't suppose you have lost a pony along the road, and I point at the mare that we picked up along the road.
And he says, "Aye, yes, we have. He's the one that we found. He was part of our caravan when we first left. It's a miracle that any of the horses are still alive at this point." Okay, so now he's sitting there talking to you, and now we have everybody who's sort of
I'm
placed.
gonna take special exception to Dindy, who's sitting in the corner.
Okay. You said attention to, Dindy?
Yeah, I'm gonna kind of like look over the shoulder of the guy who's in our way, this Ingar guy, and say, "Dindy, is that you?
And
We've
he
been looking
says,
for you."
He says, "Oh, yes. I'm most grateful that you could stop in for tea. Very grateful indeed. But as we've got some uninvited guests coming, I do hope you'll excuse me while I hide under these boxes." And he gets up and he walks over and like just drops and like hides behind basically underneath the wagon. And Tawny Bear and Inga, who are paying attention to Ingar, see Ingar kind of rolls his eyes and he's like, "He's been that way ever since the first attack happened a couple of days." And then he sort of gives out a wince of pain, and you can now see that his left leg is heavily bandaged, and he sort of, his hand almost involuntarily seems to jerk to it. And he says, "Since the first attack, it's ever since then he hasn't been much use. I mean, I don't blame him. He hired us, not the other way around. But this whole matter was supposed to be easy."
I understand.
How long have you
I've met
have
his
been here?
brother.
Not that long, actually. We were late leaving Bree. There's always delays when traveling, especially when you do it with a heavy load. We traveled across the land towards the Misty Mountains without a problem, climbed up to the high pass. Everyone knows the mountains are supposed to be free of goblins ever since the fall of Smog. Well, since the Battle of the Five Armies, anyway. We took the easiest route through the pass. 2 nights ago, though, I saw one of those filthy goblins spying on us. And since then, every night we've been beset by goblin attacks. 2 nights ago was just a few of them. Last night, a lot more. We managed to beat the creatures back, but we lost our ponies, except for this one that you found. Most of our supplies and goods. And, as you can see, I didn't make it out unscathed. And he kind of reaches his hand down again, either.
Tony Bear, should you take a look at that guy?
Come with me.
Whose name I know, Ingar, sorry.
Okay. So, he seems willing to go,
Have a
with you.
seat. Keep talking.
He says, and then, so you start working on his wound as he says, start unwrapping the bandage. He says, "I knew we'd never make it to safety if we stayed on the road. So we headed up here. I saw that this place, it's one of the old forts. They talked about them all the time, the old tales of places they could hold them off. At least here we've got some kind of natural defenses, and what's left of what men built here. But it ain't gonna be enough, especially with these milk drinkers I've got in my crew. And he looks around him, and you can see that the guards, Tom and Bill and Andy, they're all sort of trying to hold their positions, but you can see, Robar, from the way that they're kind of holding their weapons and stuff, that these are not, these are not top-quality warriors. He says, they're not bad lads, really. They can probably hold their own in a fight against, well, a drunken farmer maybe, but you put them up against goblins or orcs, that's way beyond their pay grade. And you can look at them. Well, Andy there, he's only 17. This was his first real job. And you can see what it's gotten us into. And he says that because you've now taken the bandage off Tony Bear to reveal a very, really evil-looking wound would be the way to describe it. It's purple and black around the outside of it. And you can see... Pustulant. And you can see that the purple and black seems to have spread. And it doesn't take much for you to determine that the wound itself is not actually all that severe. And in fact, of course, the arrow's already been removed from it at this point. But whatever was on it, this clearly was not... There must be some poison working here, because this is a much greater effect that the wound seems to be having than if it had just been the thing itself. He says, I did for that bastard, I'll tell you. But my leg hasn't been any good ever since.
When are you expecting the next attack by the goblins?
Darkness. By the time darkness hits, they won't wait too long. Goblins can't move too well in the sunlight, But once the sun is down completely, and he sort of looks, and you can see now, as I said, it's twilight coming, so you guys maybe have a half hour before the sun is completely down below, and probably another 15 minutes before, maybe to a half hour if you're lucky, before darkness descends.
Okay.
He said,
So running isn't an option, I suppose.
with these people, even if I'd ask you to leave me and take them, but they're in no shape to go anywhere, especially him. And you hear Dindy sort of rocking back and forth, going, crumpets and tea, crumpets and tea, crumpets and tea, crumpets and tea.
We owe them more than just fleeing. That's... Okay, so we got 4 guys, plus Dindy, who doesn't count, who can fight. He's not picking up a saucepan anytime soon and going Sam Gamgee on their ass.
If you can do something about this leg, I'll fight those bastards. I don't have a... And that's because you're like, Tawny, you're trying to be careful, but like, this is, painful as hell.
Okay, so, Tawny Bear, if you help him with his leg, it looks like there's 2 entrances on here, like kind of north and south.
Yes.
Ways they can come up. Do you know which direction they're coming from?
He said, last night we managed to get up here, so we haven't actually had any attacks since we've been up here. If I had to guess, well, if it's the same number we dealt with last night, they might try to go by the entrances, but every night there's been more of them. Truth is, these aren't much in the way of walls. They can climb up like spiders they are, climb over the banks and overwhelm us. They could come from anywhere, but the easiest path up is there to the north, and he points towards where Bill the Bowman is, and there to the south where Andy is. That's where you guys came in.
So those are the 2 entrances that we need to protect the most. So I'll take south here, and Inger, if you go to the north and see that there, and we'll take... we should leave someone in reserve, so that when we see which direction needs the most support, they can help us and reinforce when we need them to. We should try and keep them at range as long as possible. And well, goblins aren't exactly a great shot. I mean, they got your horse there, but at least they didn't, kill anyone, right?
And he says, he says, not yet.
Good.
They want to, though. These creatures are driven, and there's more. I couldn't see any of these themselves, but there was some voice shouting at them from the shadows. It sounded a lot stronger than any goblin to me.
Was it... Oh, okay. he's thinking, I'm thinking, is it this shadow creature that's actually involved with the goblins now? No, that doesn't make sense. It killed the goblins. So they probably have some kind of leader, a captain of sorts, something which is stronger. If we can take out the head of the, cut off the head of the snake, as it were, we may be able to have some luck there. It may be, you said it was shouting at them from the woods last night?
From the shadows, yes, off by the side of the road where we were. I couldn't tell. We were too busy trying to drive off the ones that there were. We killed a set of them ourselves. Even Andy got in some good licks there before they finally fell back. But I heard him yelling, and I've been around long enough to know that what he was yelling wasn't normal language.
Right. Okay, so here's what we'll do. Any of your lads particularly stealthy? I do it myself, but I want to help hold down the fort. If we could have a one or two who could flank around, try and take out their leader in the shadows.
As you're saying this, he's kind of looking at you, blinking, because he's like, "You want my lads to stealth?" He's like, "You realize, sir, I can tell by your cloak you've one of the wandering types, one of them rangers out of the north. All begging your pardon, but my lads aren't stealthy." And as you say that, you hear this clump, and then you look over and see that Tom Lumpy Face is rather sheepishly picking up his axe from the ground, looking back over. You get the impression that you get the impression they would lose it. You'd say flank, and they would immediately be like, "What?" Like they don't. Yeah, you get the impression these guys are not.
It'd be like with bacon. Yeah.
They do, however. Andy is close enough that he can hear you're talking, and he says, "Sir," and he turns around, and you can tell like sort of this fresh-faced lad here that he might even have lied about his age. Like this is 17. Like maybe he's 17. But he says, "Sir, I signed on here, and I don't intend to leave. I can't speak for Bill and Tom, but you set me at one of them things, and I'll take his head from his shoulders. I will."
All right.
And you see a little fire maybe in his eyes, Robar.
Yeah.
Maybe not skill, but definitely a little bit of determination.
Yeah, I like the middle in you, boy. All right, fine. If you guys feel like you can hold this down, Inga, we could leave you in charge. You're a fine warrior, and I can sneak around and try to take out the captain and then reinforce the group of you once their leader is dead. I'll throw the head into the band of them and try and scare them at the very least. It seems to me if they have greater numbers, then we can hope to beat them in a fight of attrition. But if we can break them and send them fleeing, that might be our only chance. Because you can bet anything that after last night's defense, they're going to come back with more, and they're going to be more determined than ever.
And he
Are
says,
you sure that just one person is gonna be enough to flank them? Like, we could both flank them, I'm just saying. Well, they don't know we are here. That's the thing. They
Very
only
true.
know about the other guys. So,
That's true. I just fear leaving alone these fine lads when such a fine warrior as yourself is amongst their number. I can look after myself.
and as you say this, I want to, Tani, check in with you on the healing. What are you what are you attempting to do with his wound, which, as I said, is...
Just going to cut his leg off.
Okay, good.
Suddenly,
I have to tell you this just because his last name is literally Longleg. So
Not for long.
the warrior formerly known as Longleg.
warrior formerly known as Longleg.
change it by deep.
Now his name is Lone Leg. No, I'm just going to grab a log out of the fire.
Oh, Jesus.
No, what I was planning to do was to say something along the lines of, "Have you any medicines in your supplies?"
And he says, "I wish I can feel myself that this ain't normal. There must have been some of their filthy poison on there. But I don't think we've got... Well, wait a moment now. Hey, Tom!" And Tom, Lumpy Face here, sort of turns around. Yeah, boss?" And you can now see that his nose is a little crooked and kind of bulbous. That may be where he gets the name from. And he says, look in the wagon there. There's got to be some supplies here. Dindy, did you bring anything with you? And Dindy's like, I certainly brought many things, good sir, many good things that I'd love to show to you just as soon as I hide more under this wagon now. Crumpets and tea, crumpets and tea. So Dindy continues to be about useless. And so
Okay, so
Tom
I
goes
got
over to the
enough of
wagon.
Dindy.
Okay.
I'm gonna walk over to Dindy and just grab him, slap him, and go, Dindy, we need you to focus here. Everybody needs to work here. Do you have any medicine?
Oh, medicine. No, we're not a hospital. I run an inn, you know. But no, we're not that. He's obviously terrified. Now,
Ray
partially
has
of
gone
you.
Bye-bye, Egon.
Yeah, he's he is terrified. But he says, the wagon has things, herbs, maybe. Or herbs and things.
Where?
Sure. Right above
Where?
me. Right above, and he literally starts poking the wagon above his head because he's like right. Yeah, basically he's just like poking above him. Is exactly what he's doing. Like doof doof doof.
Thank you. And I check the spot he just mentioned.
Okay, so you start looking through it. So most of this stuff looks to be like, you know, cooking supplies, basically, like, you know, sort of traditional, you know, herbs and spices, many of them dried and wrapped in packets. There is some dried strips of meat. You see some what looks like boxes of perhaps eggs might be in there. It's beyond you, Inga, whether or not something could be made here. Tawny, you could try to see if you could find some things. There are some herbs here, like dillweed and a couple of others, that might, with the right sort of mixture, maybe be something which could draw, if it's a sort of mild poison. If it's anything serious, this is not going to get it done. But it might be that this is a mild poison, as much of what you've seen has been kind of rough and ready goblin-style stuff. So maybe.
Well, I've got my herbalism kit, so I imagine that would probably help.
So go ahead and start. Let's have you start working on that. And actually, do you have an herbalism skill in AME that we found before? Or was it just?
It's medicine.
It is just medicine. God, stop
Terror
calling
call.
me. No one ever call me again ever.
That's how I feel all the
Remember
time.
you said
God,
that.
man. No one
Just
should be
remember-
calling this number. Anyway. So, yes. Okay, so you start working on that. So go ahead and make a medicine check for me, please.
22.
Well, damn. You're like, you know, you put stuff together, and as you begin to put this together, you feel you have a couple of these scents, and you remember back when you were tending to your own house. Now it seems many years ago, though it was actually only a matter of not that many months. You remember actually having to tend the wound of a creature which had basically had a wound become festering, infected more or less. And you had used a mixture of this dillweed that I mentioned and a couple of other herbs steeped in a poultice, which you then were able to put on top of the wound. And so, assuming you do that again, you can start putting together. There is already a small little kettle which is sort of half bubbling over this bonfire that I mentioned. So you're able to dump it in and place it on him. And as you do that, first he's like, ah, and he kind of, you know, bends over in pain, and then, and then you look and you can see sort of the color returning to his face. And he says, I trust a Bjorning to know what to do. You see that, lads? And he kind of, you know, yells back at him, and they all look at them, including Tom. Lumpy face looks and says, "Aye, that's a miracle, it is. Oh, it's this man's got to be a great healer of some kind."
Eyes to your charge.
What's it? Say that again. What did you say?
Eyes to keep your eyes on what you're supposed to be looking at.
Okay, he sort of
Eyes
is
to
like,
your charge.
oh yes, sir. And he heads back over to the fort. And you can see that now the poultice is going to have to stay on there for a while, but he says, "Wrap this thing up. Just put it around my leg and I'll fight. I already feel my strength coming back to me."
Yes, you will.
There's a good lad.
Okay, as you're doing this, Inga, what are you doing besides
I am
having
checking
punched Lindy in the face?
I do that again and again. No, I check if there are like any stacks of arrows lying around that are not in use currently.
There is
Arrows.
there is a bundle of arrows. In fact, they're not.
All goblin make.
Yeah, exactly. No, there's none of those.
That's
They are actually all human make. They look to be, you know, fairly simple but definitely serviceable arrows. But there's not many of them. You could see there's a quiver on the back of Bill, and you may here be maybe there's 20 of them, but there's not a lot. But there are some.
All right. So I go to Bill, and are you only of use with a bow, or do you also, or can you also handle a sword or something?
He says, "Well, miss, I've spent a good deal of time out in the fields between working, shooting at birds and creatures,
Okay,
mostly just to
that
test
answers
things.
my question.
I can, but miss, I can use a knife when I need to." And
Well, that's good,
and
but
Ingar
stick to the bow.
says he's not a terrible shot, actually.
Good. So I hand him the additional arrows that I found,
Okay.
and whatever you do, do not stop shooting.
He says, "Yes, miss," and he turns around and literally, like, you see his bow go up, and then he sort of thinks better of it, because you almost get the impression he was about to be like immediately just start firing, like it's just like randomly. It's like he stops, and then he says, "Oh, miss, did you hear that?"
I listen. Do I hear anything?
Do you hear that?
Oh, that's not good.
Very, very vaguely, but I've got the volume down to like 30%. So.
War drums.
That is exactly what you hear. You hear the sound of drums.
Okay.
Which direction?
They seem to be coming from mostly around you.
Like all around us.
Yep.
Oh, that's not good. Okay, get my bow ready.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
climb on like a rock or something. Like
Okay.
where I
Whatever
can
we
just,
do, we
like-
must hold our ground.
Okay, give me
for me.
positions here, and then I'm gonna ask you guys to roll initiative in a second. But give me positions. Where are you guys spotted? So Ingar, are you more or less where like your token is right now?
Yeah, over here maybe. So that if I have to, I can jump to the opening in the north. But
Okay.
over here, I can like have a look upon the like eastern side,
Okay.
since nobody else is looking there.
And Inger stands and says, "Right, I told you the attack would be on the way, but they won't find me idle this time. Tell me," and he looks at you, Tani, only because Inga's over in the wall and Robar is not there, and he says, "Where do you want me? I'm good for at least 10 of those bastards myself."
Which of your men is the weakest?
And he looks around and he says, "Well, up close, I wouldn't want Bill to be with me in a knife fight unless I could help it, but probably, well, Tom there. Tom's the one who needs perhaps the most work." And you can see Tom is sort of crouched down a little bit, and as Ingar notices that, he says, "Stand up and put your back into it, lad. They're a bunch of scrawny goblins. They're nothing to someone like you. Strong Bree stock you come from." And Tom is kind of like, yeah, yes, sir. And he stands up, but his axe is like, you can tell that Tom is. Andy looks pretty sort of solid, and Bill, his hand is gripped like really tight around the bow, but he's sort of standing steady.
So, Glenn,
So best guess is Tom is the one who's
Right,
going to be the biggest problem.
So I'd kind of point towards Tom and say, "Go where you're needed."
Yes, sir.
Didn't sound like Ingar at all.
Oh wait, you said go where you need. I thought you were saying that to Tom.
No, to
you-
Ingar, so
Ingar's
that he
the
can
one
be
who
with
said,
us.
"Where do you need me?"
Oh, you're saying it. Okay, you're saying to Ingar to go where you're needed, right? And Ingar says, "Right, I'll do what I can for him." And he sort of goes over there and he's like, "All right, lad, no, don't hold your axe like that, you fool." And you hear him sort of like muttering as he's on the way there.
Figure eights, one, fluid.
Exactly.
Oh, also, before I go to the wall, I go back to Dindy, and I probably belong among the crates and stuff. I found a knife or something, right? Like a cooking knife or something, or maybe a sword.
Yes. In fact, you found
Maybe a
both.
letter opener.
You found both a short sword, kind of rough, and you did find a cooking knife, which really more of a chopping, like a chopping blade, more or less.
Okay, so I take the short sword and hand it over to Dindy and go, "If you have to, you are gonna use this. Are we understood?"
And he says, "Yes, miss. I'll be ready, miss." And he kind of places it.
But don't do anything stupid. Stay where you are.
He says, "Stupid, right? Not nothing stupid. Yes, ma'am, miss, sir, miss." And then he puts his sir, miss.
Adorable.
And he puts his so he
Slapping
puts the
one
knife sort of like into his belt. Okay, now the drums are becoming louder, and at this point, Robar, I need to know where you are. Sorry, Tani. Now where are you putting yourself? And then I need to know where Robar is.
I'm putting myself on the eastern flank. Yeah.
Okay, are you like bent down really low? Like where are you sort of positioned? Like
Yeah, if there is a way to be hidden in the shadows away from the camp, and or a bush, to be honest, because that's where Robar finds himself most at home.
you most of the
Yeah,
time.
and I tried to give him like backup, just to like checking the
Okay.
area around him to see if anybody sneaks up on him.
You can definitely do that, although you've got to be sort of the bank is not high. I mean, you can definitely see over the bank, but you definitely are like you have to kind of like crane your neck up a little bit, Inga, to see over it. Robar, unfortunately, this high close to the bank, there really isn't any brush up here. It's mostly rock and dirt. So there's not a lot of now the shadows. There's plenty of those as the night is lengthening. But in terms of actual like, ground cover, not much. Not where this is.
All right. Yeah, in that case, I will just stick to the shadows and try and keep as lower profile as possible.
Okay, sounds good. And last one I want to know is thank you for the thanks so much for the host, Exploding Dice. I appreciate that. And of course,
that guy.
Exploding Dice is going to be hanging out with Will and myself and Dave from the Digital DM at the end of this month on Friday the 27th for our inaugural Masters of the Dungeon DM roundtable. So I am looking forward to that. So it's going to be super awesome. I'm excited about that. And you should check it out, and you should check him out as well. And for all of you who are here, by the way, good turnout tonight. Thank you guys for being here. You are watching Adventures of Middle-earth, Wilderland Adventures. This is episode 2 of Leaves and Stewed Hobbit with Trendane Sparks, Wolfram Encounter Roleplay, Terry Tunes, and they are about to get themselves into a bit of a pitched battle against some goblins. All right. Now, Tawny Bear, where are you positioning?
Bill is the one at the south.
No, this is Bill to the north. To the west here is Tom. And to the south here is Andy.
Shouldn't like the bow guy stand behind a wall, not at an opening? Like, can we?
If you wish him to, you could tell him that.
Yeah, definitely. Like, we should put Tom and Ingar at the north gate and put Bill on the west side of the wall. I think that makes much more sense.
Okay, so if you want to move him here and move these guys here?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
We can do that.
Okay, they all do that quickly.
Good.
Okay, so now that that's sorted,
Yes, Tawny.
I will be down here to back up that other guy. Tom?
Tom
Andy.
Lumpy bum face.
That's Andy.
Tandy.
Tandy. Yes, you have found TRS-80.
Oh,
Oh, also, Trendon, when you asked like which one of them is the weakest, you should have asked which one wears a red shirt. And then
Yeah, that's
team
true.
them up.
That's true.
I have a feeling there are going to be many more red.
Smith, Jones,
At the
Callahan,
end
come
of
with
the
me.
night, everybody will be wearing
The
red.
classic, if you're wearing a red shirt and your name is Smith, Jones, or Callahan, shoot yourself in the foot immediately. Like, do not allow yourself to go down to the...
I have very bad feet.
Yeah,
Thanks
this
for that.
greatest name ever in Galaxy Quest. My name is Guy. You don't even know my real name. Okay. Okay, so you guys are all standing at your respective
But what was his
positions.
last name?
Oh, God. What? I don't remember what his last name was.
Fleegman.
Fleegman? That's right. I only remember his first name. It's all right, Guy.
They never say it. It's just in the credits at the end.
Okay. Now, make, let's see, make a perception check for me. Let's see, who do I want to make this? Actually, Inga, all you guys can make a perception check for me, please.
Does this still count as wilderness?
Yes.
Good.
Let's say it does.
All right, it does.
All right, fine.
And so I got a 6.
Okay. What else did you guys see? Because I'm in the midst of doing something else here.
I got a 10.
19.
19.
Okay.
I'm too worried about the other guys not screwing up to pay proper attention.
I'm just getting all my good rolls out of the way so when it comes time to actually hit people.
Exactly.
Was this gonna be the first fight where you actually hit something?
No.
Like try to hit something.
Okay,
Try
so
to hit something.
Inga, you just see sort of darkness. You're focused on, Robar looking. Robar, you can kind of make this out. You see what looks like down at the foot of the hill, these shadowy shapes. And Tawny Bear, you clearly see these goblin shapes sort of sneaking, small shapes, sneaking through the dusk. And you guys also hear this.
That's not a good sound.
Why don't I hear that?
So
Might have to turn up the music and roll 20.
Oh, roll 20. Like, I was bumping up my fucking
Like,
Doom. and then Arvin spoke in his deep, rich voice.
Greetings.
Oh.
Why don't you hear this, Will?
Now I hear it.
Okay. Yeah, so you
that's
hear the howling of clearly dogs or wolves. There are many, many shapes that you see, and there's this, and the drums are getting louder as you are sort of looking out at these shapes. And then you see a little bit of flickering light here and there, what looks like maybe torchlight. And then suddenly that gets louder and louder. And then so yeah, exactly. Who turned the dogs up? Who? Then all of a sudden, abruptly, everything stops. The drums just like cut short. And then you see this flickering fire coming forward towards your side, Robar. And then you see it standing up and on this sort of like, looks like perhaps like a small rock that is at the base of the hill. And then it lifts its torch up, and several torches around it are lit and held up so that you can clearly see the face of this huge orc. And an orc stands on top of the rock and says, "Rah! You're trapped in your little circle like rats in a grave. I am Ubbers, and I am here to kill you. But if you throw out your swords and spears and give up, then maybe Ubbers will let some of you go. Let them go now, or let go your lives forever. Speak!" And around him you hear this, and like all the, creatures around you. And Tawny, you can hear on your side the sound of, like they seem to be all around the fort. And there's an eerie silence that follows his words after this, other like the, and then everyone quiets down again.
How many voices can we make out?
I mean,
Like, roughly.
40?
Does that sound like they
50?
vastly outnumber us?
Yes.
That's the idea.
Yes.
Unquestionably. And
God.
then you hear this, and Tawny, you look over and you see Andy, who was, sort of like trying to kind of stand up before, is sort of like, he seems to be taking his sword as if he's going to like maybe toss it over the bank. And he says, "There's too many of them. I can't face up against all of them. There's too many." And he sort of moves a little bit towards the earthen bank as if to toss his sword over.
And I'll just kind of, do a quick whistle that I can't do that way
Okay.
to get his attention.
And he kind of looks back at you.
You throw away your only means of defending yourself, and they will kill you slowly.
He says, and he kind of, he sort of stops and he says, "But we can't, they'll kill all of us that much faster though. There's too many of them." Well, you make a good point. And,
Yeah, he does.
Actually,
I just like to imagine that like he looks at everybody
Right.
just waits.
So
on
Tawny
one.
like tosses himself over the wall. He's like, "Good call.
Right.
Screw this."
Pretty much. Yeah.
As you're thinking of what to say to him, think of what to say
He
to him,
makes a choice.
Tawny Bear.
His spirit just cracks. And
As you want to think of, Ubhers says, "I've given you time and still no answer. You have 5 more seconds to respond. Will you come
How
out or do I
far?
drown you like your rats in a trap?"
How far is the leader dude away?
Your guess is he's probably he's a
Is
good
he in bow range? That's
yeah, he is. He's a good like 50, 60 feet from where
Ooh.
he's a good 50, 60 feet from where Robar is currently. So from you, he's
Okay.
probably like 70 feet. I mean, you would. It's going to be a little bit of an awkward shot because you kind of have to go like, have your arms up. You know what I'm saying? Like where you are, because you can only just see over the bank. Remember we said. So
Yeah, but I climbed on like a thing. I mean, there are like loose rocks everywhere.
oh,
right?
did you
So
climb
I
up on
should-
a rock? Okay, so yeah, that's fine.
The idea,
It's still
so that I can like duck behind the wall if I
Got
want
it.
to, but I can properly shoot it. Like
Got it. Okay.
chest high wall thinking here.
Yep.
Basically.
So basically, you've made this into a Mass Effect cover shooter. I get it. It's fine.
Well, this is
No
not a
problem.
corridor, so no.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Okay, yes, you can do that.
Okay, so unless anybody else is gonna do something, I am just
I'm
gonna
waiting,
shoot
yeah.
the dude.
Okay, before you shoot him, Tawny, do you say anything first?
So does he have? He has a sword, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So then I think I figured out what I'm going to say.
Okay.
You must steel yourself. You have a sword. I have a stick. I am here to help you, and I need you to help us. You can do this. We can do this.
Make a persuasion check for me.
With disadvantage.
Persuasion. Nice even 10.
So he seems sort of like he sort of nervously looks at you, and then he looks back over, and he says, he kind of lowers his sword, and he says, and he seems sort of indecisive would be a good way to put it. But he's not throwing his sword over the wall at any rate. And with that, Ubhers sort of lifts up, and he's got this nasty looking, really more like a meat cleaver than a sword, if anything, rusty on its edges, and holds it up, and he says, "Then that's enough." I was about to say, looks like meat's back on the menu, but I won't be stupid about it. Instead, he just holds it up and he says, "This day, Ubhergzorks, take what they want, kill when they wish, and eat what's left. Come on, boys!" And you hear this, and we are rolling initiative. Let's do it up, people.
Let's go.
I wanted to shoot the dude.
Yeah, Inga
Let me
was
shoot
holding-
the dude.
You can get a shot off. You're going to roll initiative, but you can get a shot off at him. Yes.
Okay,
Remember
so
to
first
click
initiative, right?
your token before you roll in it.
Yes, yes.
Yes, and I do have the turn order up this time.
21.
Okay.
Eat it.
21. Initiative for me.
Seeing my name in the
9.
Okay. I don't know why
Didn't
that
click
didn't.
your token.
Ah, damn it.
I was wondering. I'm like, wait, what? So go ahead and do it again, but I'll add it in manually.
I rolled even worse.
I'm not seeing any names in the turn order.
I see, but you do have an 11, right? Meat's
I have
back on the
11.
menu, boys.
I see them.
Okay. Okay, 21, 11, and 9. Lovely. Give me music, damn it, Kevin McLeod. All right, fine. Instead, I will give you the power of something even cooler, and that is...
Love.
No, not the right one I want. I mean, man, it just takes a while to get started. I got Death and Axes, man. All right, we'll do Firebrand for now. Okay. Right. All right, and let me find out what the bad guys are doing.
This just makes me think of the Black Panther trailer. Oh my God, what an amazing trailer!
Yeah.
Oh, there's a new one, right? I haven't seen
Oh
it.
yeah.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
badass. I'm
Oh
all
my
about that movie, 1,000%.
So happy.
Yep. Although I really do need to see Civil War before I see that
Yes.
movie.
Yes.
It's just so goddamn long. Oh man, I
This beautiful scene where they're walking out to the car, and one of the ladies that is the guardians of the Black Panther, she's like walking up. She's wearing this gorgeous dress. She walks out and like Black Widow standing in front of the car, and she just walks up. She's like, "Move. Oh, you will be moved." And I'm like, "Oh, oh."
and actually,
So happy for this film.
I realized that go watch Blade Runner. No, I know. I heard Thorg. I heard. I forgot to do this. I'm sorry when you guys first arrived. Out of the fun of playing the various fort things, but actually arriving at the fort is technically the end of your journey. So I do need you to make an arrival roll because it's actually going to possibly affect this. So What I will need is the hold on one second, the guide, which I think might have been you, Robar.
Yes.
Indeed.
So I will need the guide to make a, let's see, to roll a D8 for me,
Do not screw this up for us.
and you're gonna get +1 because of various things that happened during the course of the journey.
7.
7. All right. Okay.
Oh, on a D8. Okay.
So as
Yeah.
you arrived, let's see.
I was like on a D20. That's not a good roll.
Okay.
No.
So this is not going to affect this combat, but it is something to keep in mind in forward. The trip actually, you were all sort of energized by having discovered your quarry, like finding the person that you were seeking. And as a consequence, thanks to that and thanks to successful avoidance of some serious issues along the way, including that shadow creature, you feel somewhat inspired by that reaction, by that result. And so you guys will have advantage on skills that are pertaining to social interaction. So actually, I would like you, Tawny Bear, to make that persuasion roll again, because you actually had this before we went into this. Okay, so actually, wait. That initial roll that you had
Was a 10.
was also a 10. Okay, so right. So they just really want you to have the exact same number. Okay. All right. But so that is okay. So you do not have that bonus anymore, Tawny. But Robar and Inga, you guys have that bonus. So social interaction, persuasion, deception, things like that, you guys will have specific advantages to those rolls until one of them is failed.
Classico would like to know what an arrival roll is.
An arrival roll is a Pale Lord. Classic or an arrival roll is a specific thing to the Adventures of Middle-earth campaign system. These guys were involved in a journey, and so there were several encounters they had along the way. There were some benefits and some drawbacks and some strengths and weaknesses that were applied to the roll based upon things that happened in the terrain that they crossed over, which is what gave them ultimately the +1. And so the end result was this that they got. So that is what the arrival roll is. What are you laughing at?
I just remembered we were talking about Black Panther, and somebody had commented that the only white people on the movie poster are Bilbo and Gollum, and somebody replied that they were the Tolkien white guys. And I just,
Oh, very nice, very nice. I see what you did there.
oh, I didn't do it. Somebody else did it, but I'm just relaying it.
I see,
Sorry,
I see
never
what,
mind.
but that's good. I see what they did there.
Yeah.
Oh man. Okay. Yeah, it is kind of neat, Classicor. I like it. I like the system. Okay. All right. Now let's see what these guys do.
Let me shoot him in the face already.
Just, I've got that scene in mind where Gimli kind of taps the Legolas's bow and releases. I'll just kick this right off, right?
I was waiting during that showdown for the one-eyed guy to just fire an arrow out and then all to go.
Yeah, exactly.
What's his name? Herzog? Is that his name?
I'm more thinking of the gamers where they try to shoot the Bandit King during his speech over and over, and at one point the DM just gives up. It's just okay. I
want
hate you
somebody.
guys.
I want somebody to do a compilation of the end of Prometheus, where the spaceship is rolling forward and they're like running in a straight line, and then it's like, what do you do in this case? And then cut to the fight with the one-eyed guy, where they're like launching pieces of castle out of the trebuchet, and he just sidesteps and it drops. This is what you do. If the fucking orcs can figure it out, so can a damn scientist.
Okay, so these guys. All right. Tawny Bear, what's your dexterity?
12.
Okay. All right.
Let's build back on the menu, yeah.
Okay. And let's see.
Oh, no, my jungle drums.
Just for a minute, it'll restart. Let's see.
Bongo, bongo.
Thanks to Kevin McLeod
King
for
of the
being
bunker,
awesome.
king of the bunker.
Kevin McLeod of the Clan McLeod? Okay.
There can
No.
be only one.
All right.
There should have been only one.
There's no time for us. Okay.
Although,
Well, I mean, the best Highlander movie is clearly the anime version, which, if anybody has not seen it, do it. It's amazing.
I think it was the second movie that had, no, it might have been the third one, that had Mario Van Peebles in it. And just the scene where he says, there could be only one. That was cool, but that was the only cool part of the film.
Are you talking about the original? Not the original Highlander.
No, not the first movie.
Not the first movie. Okay, yeah. Yeah, the later
Van
ones.
Peebles wasn't in the third one.
The later ones. Is Bill back on the menu? Looks like Bill's back on the menu, boys. Good stuff. I just saw that. Okay. And
We shoot the guy.
those guys. I know. The problem is that
You need to go Green Arrow on his ass.
he's described as something different. Thank you for the follow, whoever that is that I can't currently see. 1, 2, 1, 4. There we go. That's what I'm looking for. Thank you
It
for
was
giving me my reference.
GW073.
Mm-hmm. Let's see.
And yes, Professor Dan, Mario Van Peebles. It was also really good in Full Eclipse. Is it Full Eclipse? I think it was in Full Eclipse. Interesting werewolf movie. I say interesting because there really isn't there's kind of like somebody didn't quite rinse all of the soap off of their face and then just kind of rubbed a Shih Tzu, dog on their face. That level of fur on their like werewolf kind of thing. That kind of werewolfism for the beginning, but there is a really cool werewolf towards the end. It's the actual proper werewolf. Anyway.
Wait, what are we talking about right now?
I've watched 3 movies ever, and they're all the Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, it's a movie called Full Eclipse.
Okay, never heard of it.
With Mario Van Peebles. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like Twilight.
Oh god.
Except not that bad.
I can proudly say that I hated Twilight before everybody else did, because way back when I was a wee teenage girl,
When I was born.
In the womb, I hated it.
I had a roommate back in the orphanage who was obsessed with Twilight, with novels. This was like years before the movies were in the making. And she was just talking my ear off about these books all the time. I was, no, stop, please. Leave me alone. If you want to talk about books with me, talk to me about Discworld or
Sounds like
Cornelia Funke books, but go away.
Sounds like you hated her more than anything.
Yeah, exactly.
No, she was great. She was actually the only roommate I actually got along with, which is kind of sad. But yeah.
I've never seen it and I've never read the books, so I'm fine.
These are
Well,
the,
I mean, it's like super corny vampire romance stuff, and I like. That's what was the moment when oh god, when vampires suck and
Yeah.
romance sucks.
See what I did there?
Okay, we are sorry about the delay, guys.
That's okay.
Okay,
I was
Inga,
just
go
about
ahead
to
and
start.
fire away at this guy.
Yes. Okay, so I'm gonna use my inspiration for this, and I need everybody who's watching to send me the energy, like in Dragon Ball Z.
All right, chat. We need energy.
Goku.
Dragon Ball Z.
See, I was gonna do it more like the Temple of Doom. Om Nom Shivai, Om Nom Shivai, Om Nom Shivai.
Okay, okay.
You need to just are you going to yell out Hadouken and then go it's over 9,000 as the thing is
What?
going?
No, I'm not doing Hadouken. I'm doing a Genki Dama.
Yeah, oh yeah. Okay, right.
Spirit bomb. is
Yes,
what they
yes,
call
Spirit
it.
Bomb. Yeah, nonstop was already on top of it. All right, chat. Where's my art? Where's my hypes on? There's give energy. Where's my hypes at? Let's see some Marvin-y hypes. Right? Let's see some get hype, some quills. Where is it at? All right. Do it
If
up.
the dude isn't dead at the end of the round, it's your fault. not mine.
Yeah, it's your fault. You are responsible.
Okay. Fingers crossed. Boom! 26.
Miss. No, I'm joking.
Okay,
That's a
23.
hit.
There we go.
I'm
23,
joking.
23.
That is
Okay,
indeed a
and-
hit.
Okay. Oh god, 3 damage. Are you kidding me?
The first thing that popped up was this. That's Orcus. You see Orcus, and okay.
Well, I mean, he has orc in the name, so.
Yes, exactly. But no, that's not actually the guy. Okay, so how much damage did you just do? Sorry.
33.
3 points of
33.
damage.
Well, what Trendane said. Do not look at the numbers.
Just trust in the Trendane.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Only 3 damage, sad trombone. All right. Ha! And then he
But
pushes.
it did hit.
He did. It did hit, and he sort of looks angrily at you. He pulls the arrow out of his shoulder, and then takes it and snaps it in half with one hand. Like he's got this big meaty hand that literally just like, and then just throws the flinders to the ground. Okay, here we go. Inga, it happens to be your turn again. So you can now run the fuck away if you want.
Oh no, I'm not running anywhere.
Okay.
I'm like, I mean, I used up my inspiration, but I'm just like really determined to take this fucker down because I want to stay alive and I want everybody else to stay alive.
A strong motivation.
I appreciate those motivations.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you. Okay, so I shoot him again.
Okay.
This time without
Guiding
inspiration,
bolt? Oh,
though,
wait, no,
since I don't have
okay.
double inspiration.
Remember, chat, you can help inspire the party if you wish, if you have that available to you. Keep that in mind.
Wait, now that I'm a Twitch subscriber, do I also get to inspire me?
Yeah.
Or is that just for the Patreons?
Well, it's actually you're only unfortunately only for Patreons at the moment. And I don't know, whoever we've got here would be the ones that could do it. Tren has got 2 of them, and I think that's the only people who are currently in chat that have it. The problem is a lot of these are my night crowd. Although Nonstop has got one, so you can convince Nonstop.
Usually Trudon would be here too. He would gladly give me all the inspiration, but
True.
he has family over, so he can't watch.
Well, it's his fault if you die then, so that's you
Yeah,
know.
it's his fault.
Yeah.
Good call. Okay, so I just shoot him again.
Okay, go ahead and do it.
Oh god, 10. That doesn't hit right.
That is a miss. So he ducks out of the way. Nonstop, you can use it whenever you want, man. I'm not. You got other sessions coming up this month too. So, okay. So.
And I duck behind the wall
Okay. So now,
as my movement thing, so that he doesn't see me.
let's see. All right. So he. So let's see. He stands and looks at you, and then he leaps down on the rock, and he strides forward, Robar, towards you. He clearly is heading in your direction. And as he gets close, let's see. Are you trying to stay out of his way, or do you want to challenge him?
I want to let him go past and probably stab him in the back.
Nice
So
call.
make a stealth check for me. Let's see how he does.
Oh dear.
This will be an opposed roll.
That's good advice.
You also still have an inspiration, right? Oh, okay, that wouldn't have done anything here.
12.
The good news is that he basically apparently punched himself in the face because perception was not strong.
Well, he
so
just got shot by this dwarf. He's
maybe
probably
that's why. Well, that was but a flesh.
So I taunted him, yes.
So yes, so he literally kind of walks, forward, and does indeed go past you, Robar. Doesn't seem to notice you there.
I don't say that.
Ha! You fool!
You didn't see me.
Okay.
Yeah, I will kind of.
Ingar yells, "Stand your ground, lads! Stand your ground! Look out there! There on the eastern side. No, over on that side. Over to your right, lad." And he's sort of shouting instructions. Okay, Tawny Bear, you were up.
Oh, good. No, that's an orc voice. Sorry.
Excellent. Yes.
He's an orc. He's been an orc the whole time.
We're orcs. That's what he
We
is.
are all orcs, right?
And I meant. Well, I didn't. I in retrospect, I know what I should have done, but never mind. So do I see any of them coming up from the south side? at all?
You see a number of shadows that are beginning to make their way up. Yes. A shot would kind of be a shot in the dark here at the moment. But
oh, so it doesn't matter.
yeah. But you certainly don't see anything on top of you. There's nothing is there yet.
Right. I could throw my stick.
You're quick.
But
I quickly whittle it into a spear.
yeah, exactly. All right. I'm gonna. Can I hold my action? Or is that not
yes.
working?
Yes, you can do that if you want, but you got to be specific about how you're
Yeah,
doing
I'm
it.
going to be. I'm going to hold my attack until one of our opposing forces, our OP4, as we call them in the military, comes up within melee range.
Okay. All right. Sounds like a plan. Okay. Now, Bill turns.
With his bow.
Yep. And fires off a shot because now there's only about 10 feet away. This Ubhurs is only about 10 feet away from the wall. And he fires. Well, that's actually a decent shot. Yeah, and he hits him. How about that? How
Nice.
about our boy Bill, right? Our boy Bill.
Our boat boy Bill.
Our boy Bill.
Oh boy, Bill.
Oh boy.
Oh boy Bill.
Build a bear.
Sounds like a Western hero, anti-hero, gunman type.
Okay.
Well, bowman type, I guess.
Let's see.
After he shoots, he tries to do that spin thing. Bows.
Yeah. It's sort of like Will holding the chest earlier today, just like on the ball. Why did I get the bow held with magnets? Okay, so he definitely sort of a glancing blow seems to like go off to the side, maybe scrapes his shoulder. Robar, you duck just in time because like it goes past your left ear, this arrow, and Ubhur's it's like that. That's a scar to add to all the others, boy. And let's see. Then Andy sort of looks back at you. He still looks kind of nervous, kind of peeks around the wall. Tom is continuing to just sort of like stand with his sort of hand trembling. And Robar, that leads us to you.
All right, I'm gonna sneak up behind Urzog. Was that his name?
Ubhur's.
Ubhur's. Okay, Ubhur's.
Pincushion.
Ubhur's, yeah.
Ubhur's.
And I'm gonna try and sneak up behind him and stab him in the back with my longsword.
Okay, so let's make another stealth check then, please.
All right, it's
Roll low.
come on, not 20.
Wow. Wablam. Okay, so you were like right on top. You were just silent as the right on top of him. Okay. All right. Now you can make your attack, and you can do this at advantage, actually.
Do that again.
Yeah, exactly.
let's try
Second verse, same as the first. Let's see.
17.
We said the same. Okay.
It is 17 on that side on both times.
Oh yeah.
That does not hit.
17.
Oh wait. I'm sorry. I beg your pardon. I forgot we were doing an advantage that I just gave you. Yes, that does hit. I beg your pardon. Sorry. 14 would not have hit.
Holy moly! Let's go stuff. All right.
14 would not have hit. That does hit.
All right, I deal 4 damage to him.
Okay. And he sort of stumbles forward as your sword plunges into him, and then he turns and sort of sees you and his murderous fury in his eyes as he hefts his massive axe. And he's like, yeah, exactly. He kind of just like, and he doesn't even make any sound.
We lock swords, and he says, "Ranger!" And
oh
sort of
god!
zoom in on his face.
And then you do the thing right exactly at his face. Bow to me, and then right, yeah. God no. So do you are you going to stay engaged with him? Or are you backing up?
I'm gonna stay right toe to toe with him because the longer he's fighting me, the less commands he's giving to his companions.
Okay. Alrighty. Now.
Fight me, you bitch. I don't know if we'd use that word, but
You stupid son of a. Okay. What are these freaking?
you big goblin.
So the only problem when I get this pro set is I get things like, okay, so the one that I'm going to give you is going to be much better than this. Explain to me whether you would take that seriously. Really? Really? Look at roll 20.
Aw.
Isn't he
so
cute and
cute.
adorable? Yeah, exactly.
It's a mosquito, right?
Yes.
A mosquito that
Can
looks
I
like
adopt-
that? Yes.
God, there we go. That's more like it.
Oh,
That is more what I'm talking about. So, you begin to see these creatures making their way up the hill.
Now you need a
Run
keyboard command
to
for replicate 50 times.
More or less.
Oh dear. Now I'm worried. What have I done? It's
Stick to
fine.
the plan.
Sign your own death warrant.
I didn't sign anything. I was dragged along.
It's a very loose contract.
Okay. Okay. Now they come running up, really charging up, basically the hill, and where you see them is as far as they get. So they sort of charge up the hill towards you. No. That's fine, GW0. Thanks for stopping in, nonetheless. And so now you guys see where things are. Of course, you don't see any of this, Robar, because you are dealing with a big angry orc. That is in front of you. Okay, that's going to lead us to Inga.
Right. The orc leader dude. Did he knows that Robar is there yet? Not
yeah.
right now, yes.
Yeah, now he's aware.
Okay, good.
The sword clued him in.
So, I'm just thinking if it's smarter to just keep shooting him, or if I should jump over the wall and attack him. Close combat. Yeah, you know what? I put my bow down. I leap over the wall with my grab my axe and jump at the guy to burn my axe blade in his back.
Okay, now I want to point out that from where you are, 5, 10, 15, he's about 20 feet. So this is going to be a hell of a jump for Inga to make.
No, I'm not jumping the entire way. I'm just jumping over the wall.
Just jumping over the wall.
Walk and then like.
So it's not a.
I mean,
it's not
he's downhill. Like I'm just like basically jump running down.
So it's not Brad Pitt in Troy where he like jumps up and does the spear attack in the air. It's not that deal.
Quite,
It's
no.
okay. So you're gonna sort of leap over. And
She
get down
doesn't
in
have the
5
leg
Deer.
links for that.
Okay.
You can ask Ingar for that.
I need. Okay, so let me have you make a quick dexterity check for me. If you have acrobatics, I'll take that as well. This is not a difficult one, but it's
I
just.
don't have acrobatics. I have athletics, but
No, try it, but it's a dexterity check I'm looking for, but it's not a difficult one.
You know, Brad Pitt had a
19.
he had a thigh double in that movie because he's got weedy little thighs like me.
So he had to have that a thigh double. Okay. Yeah, so you were able to make it with no problem whatsoever. Okay, so you
Do I
run
make,
up
like,
on him.
A somersault. No, what's the word? Like a salto.
Yeah. And then I assume you like just parkour up his back. And no,
Yes.
just kidding. Okay, so yes, you may attack. He is facing away from you, but you're not a rogue or anything like that. But you definitely will get. I'll give you, I think,
Well,
a plus.
I mean an X blade in like the spine.
Right, I'm going to give you a.
hurt.
I'm going to give you a +2 to attack him since he's not looking in your direction at the moment. Wow, that's
25.
definitely a hit. Good work with that. And theoretically, Classicor, it's compatible, but I would never do that. I mean, because just it wouldn't, that's why. Thank you for the follow, Lana. Okay, guys.
11 damage.
Nice.
Wow,
Take it.
that is a big hit. All right. Thank you again for the
And
follow
I
on the
spilled
cage.
tea on myself.
It was worth it though.
Yes.
And
Cindy
as
cries.
your axe plunges into his back, and he sort of, like leans his arches back into it, and sort of then he kind of pulls forward, like so that the axe blade comes out, and he lurches forward with such strength that you're just barely able to hold onto the axe, like as he sort of pulls forward, and he looks back and says, "Dwarf, it'll be the best appetizer for the meal." Okay, and that leads us
taste
to.
terrible from what I've heard.
He's like, really? Because I had he doesn't do that.
And then we have like a
We have a
culinary
discussion about cooking. Yeah, it's very pleasant, and actually joins the party.
Stage.
Okay, so Ingar
I'll be right
steps forward. Okay, Ingar steps forward and swings away at the closest goblin. Wow, and crits him. Just lops his head straight off, like, poof, like, head goes up and lands, and he says, "Ah, that was for my leg. 5 more will make it closer. Come on, you bastards."
Legs
Okay.
does he have?
Let's see. So many legs. Okay.
He's a spider. Kill him.
Okay, so he does that. Let's see. All right. And we have that with the thing. No, good. Okay. All right. Tony Bear, you're up.
So I was afraid you'd say. But that's all right. Because I think Tawny Bear's going to actually just move forward
Okay.
and try to club this idiot to death.
Engage the goblin. All right.
Actually see if he can hit something.
Okay. Have faith. It's but a goblin. A fierce-looking goblin
Do you remember who you're talking to?
with weapons.
15.
See? You hit.
Mm-hmm. 2 points.
These goblins are not, do not look particularly sturdy. But definitely that he sort of staggers back and kind of grunts in pain at your ringing blow. Okay. So Andy comes forward, having picked up his sword, having decided apparently what to do, swings wildly and misses. Maybe his heart isn't completely into it. Bill's bow twangs again, but this one goes. This one actually no. I'm going to take that back. Goes to here. Goes whizzing past the shoulder of one of the goblins that he was attacking, and you hear Tom yelling incoherently. You're not really sure what he's yelling, but it's probably some kind of challenge which is coming out like something like that. It doesn't sound quite like what you might have hoped. Robar.
I'm gonna, seeing as I'm engaged in combat with this guy, and Inga's trying to help me out, I'm gonna hit him with the sword and try and cut this guy's head off.
Yes, you are.
Oh, wait a minute. Before you do that, I'd like to have him go since I completely skipped his turn.
No, it's not.
Let me. Hey, hold on. I gotta have him go. My bad. Let me have him go.
It's not bad. I'll allow it. It's okay.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, so let's see. He swings twice. Turning, he swings twice at you, Inga. The first is, I think, going to be a miss. A 7 is a miss, I assume.
Yes.
I promise you, her AC is higher than that.
Oh wait, she was away at the time. Oh shoot.
Yes.
So I will ask her. As I wait, and then she sits down, and then she puts her headphones back on. Inga, you are being attacked by Ubhers. I assume 7 does not hit you?
Me. Let me
Yes.
check. I doubt it. Wait, where does it say my armor classes? No, that doesn't.
And a 20 does, though, correct?
20 does, yes.
Okay, so let's see. Okay, really just a glancing blow. Only does 3 points of damage to you. All right. Okay, and so he does that, and let's see. Okay, right, that's what I thought. Okay, and then what he does is he's going to step back 5 feet, and what he seems to be doing is basically pulling himself out of this flanked position. So he's doing it warily. That's why he's only stepping back 5. So, yeah, he just, takes a quick step back for tactical reasons, apparently. What's up, big boss? Okay, and now I beg your pardon, Robar. Now you may go. That turn should have happened much earlier, but oh well.
That's fine. I will swipe at him on a 20.
Hit.
7 damage.
And you move up to engage him, by the way, right?
Yes.
You,
yes.
Okay. All right.
Come
So
right here.
7 damage. All right. All right. He
Not
grunts
getting
in
away
pain.
this easily.
He grunts in pain. Okay. You then hear this sound like, and you see a rain of arrows from outside the shadows flying into the fort. So let's see where this is. Let's see where this is coming. All right.
If the rhythm were a little bit slower, maybe not that slow.
Like this? Yeah, I'm not even thinking. Okay.
I was gonna say it would be the same rhythm as The Devil Inside by NXS.
Okay. The Devil Inside. Let's see. So, we get that. You hear a grunt of pain, and you see, as you sort of look behind you, you guys can see Tom is sort of pulling at an arrow that is in his shoulder, kind of, it says fallen backwards a step from the wall. Inga, an arrow narrowly misses you, like flies past your cheek, as well. Okay. And so, what is this, big boss? Suppose a group was given an option to choose between war and peace. Staunton is the only one not advocating peace. Would that make him Robart of war? That's quite a long setup, as you said. As Will said, that is quite a long setup. Okay. All right. And then after that hail of arrows, in come the goblins. One is going to attack you, Inga.
Send in the clowns.
I think that's going to be a miss.
Go
7 is
attack
going to be a
each
miss,
other.
I
Leave me
assume.
alone.
7 is a miss again, right?
Yes.
Okay. Man, these guys are rolling terribly. 9 against you,
Well, they're
Robar.
rolling great, if you ask me.
See if it's
9
just
and
a guy.
9 and a 7 against you, Robar.
Nope.
See, this was Skyrim. We could just cast Frenzy and they'd just kill each other.
Yeah, basically, right.
God.
11 against Robar again.
Nope.
This guy is up here. This one's going to roll on. Nope, that's going to be a miss. These guys have literally all been single digits, just like one single digit after
Wait,
another.
Oh,
watch this. Watch.
No, right there was a 7, or no, an 8 rather, against you, Tawny Bear.
Just watch.
This guy comes charging in. Critically misses. See what I'm saying? Like this is the worst round of the century.
Be patient.
This is the worst conceivable round. Okay. Now close to the walls, and they seem to be, you can't quite tell, but it looks as if these guys might be trying to like scrabble up the wall maybe, or like, you know, climb up to it or something. At least it looks like that's what they're doing. This one closes on Ingar. Oh my god, finally a double-digit roll. Okay, that is a hit. All right. Gives him, you hear a as he is struck by the goblin, which laughs at him. Basically, yes, thank you. That's exactly what I just did, except that it was through Tren's face that I did it. The power of ventriloquism. Okay, and that leads us up to Inga. Inga, you're up.
Right. I X away at the leader.
Okay.
What's his name again?
Ubhers. Ubhers.
Up hers. is what I-
Uppers.
Okay. Yeah. I X him.
It's pronounced Smith, but the entire word is silent. That is a hit.
10 damage.
Wow. Inga's doing work in this fight. Okay. I mean, and obviously Robar has gotten in his share of licks too, but a
she's
couple,
got like
couple of big
carry.
hits there. So, Ubhers is not pleased at this attack.
That's a
Okay.
very unfortunate name. How do you spell it?
Ubhurz.
That is not how I would have spelled that.
That's exactly how I would have spelled it.
I mean, you know, it's probably Ubhurza or something like. Okay. Huh? What is it?
It's probably pronounced John.
It's probably pronounced John, right? Exactly.
in their tongue.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a very common name.
Exactly. Okay.
Oh, wait,
All
I'm
right.
not even standing in range.
Now,
am I?
you guys now hear the sound of shouts. Foul, angry shouts. And you now see what looks like a new wave sort of running up the hill. These are considerably bigger than goblins. There look to be at least 4 of them that you can see. And they are running up the hill rapidly. Look like orcs. Not quite as big as Ubhurza, but definitely large creatures nonetheless. Now, Ubhurz turns again. Ooh, I guess he was mad at you. 19 and an 18, Inga.
Yeah, those hit.
Okay.
Oh no.
Don't do me dead.
Well, 7 for the first attack, 11 for the second attack of damage.
No!
18 damage. He was not happy.
Yeah, I'm down. I'm
No.
so down. I'm at -1.
Okay.
Inga, no!
Inga!
The carry.
Yeah, that's the big concern, right? Is that you're just like, okay, no, not
So,
on
Like 2
him.
damage between us now.
Amal is
person.
going to be starting with a brand new party.
Yeah, exactly.
Tired.
So this has been great, and no, you guys have been doing wonderful. I don't know what you're talking about. Everything's fine.
Up until
Okay. Right. Okay. So yes, you see Inga drop to the ground. She seems to be bleeding profusely, and Ubhurz sort of lifts his That's what you get for stabbing me in the back, you
your beard is stupid.
bearded bastard. He says, "What?" And he elevates, and in his rage flies to you, powered by his hate. No.
You dare.
You dare bring up my beard? Okay. All right. And then he turns to face you again, probably relieved at this point that he doesn't have to worry about 2 creatures at once, Robar. Okay. Ingar sees this. And he swings at the goblin in front of him. Let's see. Yeah, wham, just blam, just blows him the hell up, knocks him back like 10 feet, and runs this way. As he runs past, heedless of this goblin, the goblin reaches out to try to stab him and misses, and is running headlong towards where he saw you fall. Okay. That leads us to... Where are we here? It's Inger. Tawny Bear.
Clock Mr. Goblin in front of me again.
Okay.
5.
That will not get it done, unfortunately.
Didn't
That is a
think it
miss. Okay. So, let's see. All right, now... These guys are now... This one steps forward. Okay. As this goblin comes in, he steps forward, yells. You think you hear him yelling, "Bree! Bree!" And tries to, swing his sword down, but misses wildly. Tom, who remember was hit previously, struggles back to his feet, sort of cursing and facing the wall. Andy, let's see, also misses. Andy does not get the job done either, unfortunately. Okay. And let's see. You hear, as you guys are now sort of out there, you hear this, ah, 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 and then there's silence. There is a high-pitched yelling from the center of the camp.
It's Dindy hulking out, isn't it?
Could well be. That's entirely possible.
Out jumps this human-sized green
let's see.
hobbit.
All right, 3 of these guys. Let's see. We've got 13. 3 of the goblins attack you, Robar. 13 is the first one.
Ow. 13's a miss. My AC's 14.
Okay. 11 will also miss. The third one crits though.
Ouch.
Let's see. That is. Okay. That's 5 points of damage.
Oh. Yep. Okay.
Right.
First bit of damage I've taken.
Okay. 2 attack you. That are on you, Tawny Bear. One is an 11. One is an 8.
Both miss.
Okay. All right, and that brings us back up to Inga. Sorry. Yeah, it does bring us back up to Inga. Who has to bring us back up to Inga, who needs to make a death saving throw. A death saving throw. So I need you to. You've done this before. Have you been? Has anyone been unconscious?
Not in 5th edition.
Okay.
But,
So what I need you to do is to roll a 20-sided die. Basically, you're looking for
Just
how many
click
sided?
the word death save.
20-sided die. 10 and up is what you're looking for. That's the number you want. 20 is a big score. That means you actually return to consciousness. If you get a 1, that means that you get 2 strikes instead of 1 strike against you. 3 strikes, you're dead. So
I don't want to be dead.
you don't want to be dead.
In the middle of your character sheet where you have your death saves, failures, right under that is the word death saves. Just click that, I think.
Strike 1. Okay. So, strike 1. All right. You see the light of your ancestors beckoning you somewhat more closely.
I'd rather not.
Okay. Yeah, I don't blame you. All right. Let's see. These guys, the orcs, come up. They're not quite to him because they don't seem to be moving that fast, but they are closing quickly as they can. Okay, this one looks to be 15, 20, heading this way. Okay. All right. Let's see.
Place your bets. Place your bets, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay. Now we have... Ooh, ow.
One.
Let's see. That is a 23 to hit, Robar, and a 6. So the 6 will miss, but 23.
23 will do it, yeah.
Yeah.
Ow! I'm gonna call out, Inga's down! Just so everyone else is striking that
4 more points of damage.
we lost our carry. Yikes, yep. Not quite bloodied, but almost.
Okay.
I mean, in the 4th edition understanding of bloodied. Almost half hit points. I'm going to have to try and get Inga up at some point or other.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have any healing stuff on me.
Okay.
Wi-Fi paying attention to chat. It's frozen. The screen.
Oh my god.
Give me a second.
I just need a refresh on the browsers.
Yeah. There it is. I was wondering about that. I'm like, wow, people aren't interested in this. Yeah, my bad. Sorry about that. It was frozen. There we go. Yeah, that's good. I was like, wow, I guess chat is just like frozen in interest, or they've all gotten bored at once. No, I was like, or my chat is frozen.
They're all sitting there.
Yeah, no, he's like, no, okay. Right. So Ubhurs does this and then says, "Surrender now, human, and perhaps I'll let you say goodbye to your families and friends before I kill them too." All right, and let's see. Now Ingar, who attacks this. You do not want to be a goblin in the way of Ingar today. Like, Ingar is just rolling like no one's business, like on every one of these goblins. So he kills another one. Death. And closes in on Ubhurs. And with a great cry, he attacks him. Oh, and he hits him. Let's see. Wow. He strikes him solidly in the chest.
34 points of damage.
Yes, he does 800 points. No,
No,
but Ubhurs staggers back, sort of struck by the ferocity of the blow, and then he looks at him and says, "I thought we killed you scum yesterday. We'll finish the job today."
Right.
And Ingar says, "You can't kill me that easily. You'll be dead, drowning in your own filth soon enough, Orc."
Shut up and die. Oh wait, you're Inga.
Never mind, I apologize
Never
profusely.
mind, keep saying that.
Tawny Bear,
Very
you're up.
good.
Once again, swings for the fences, and by fences I mean goblin. 17.
That is a hit.
And to clock him in the face for 4 damage.
Yep. Okay. That guy is very close to dead. He's not quite dead, but he's very close to dead. Sort of was like... Oh, actually, no. That was the same one you had hit before, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I take that back. No, he's dead. He is definitely dead, so he drops. And hits the ground.
Which is...
And the goblin next to him says, "Daddy, why?" No, that doesn't... That's not actually the case. So...
No, don't do that.
Is it Andy that's next to me?
Yes, Andy is next to you.
Okay, I'm going to kind of mutter to Andy. Back to back.
And so he kind of is like, "Eh?" And then he kind of hears you and sort of falls, like, obediently, back to back, as you say. Okay. And now swings away at his goblin. Still does not hit him. Andy has been having some trouble in this fight. Okay. Tom is going to rush over here.
The goblin's like, someone call his wife and kids.
Swings
Tell
wildly.
him that he loves them.
Exactly. Actually, wait. Bill was supposed to be back here. Bill fires away. Oh, wow. Bill hits on that one. Right through the throat. Goblin drops dead. And there's a cry of "Bree!" that goes up from him. Robard, is your turn. You are facing a very hurt Ubhurs.
I'm
You
gonna
also have
try and-
any very hurt dwarf behind you too.
I think that my only chance is to kill this guy, because if I'm gonna try and heal Inga, he's gonna cut my head off. So I'm gonna pull the Aragorn punch with the sword, and then slash across the throat is gonna be the move, I think.
Let's make it happen.
13. Nope.
Not gonna hit.
Nope. I miss. I miss completely. I get distracted by Inga on the floor.
And the 3
You guys
goblins,
still have
and the 3
inspiration,
goblins,
don't you?
and the onrushing orc. I mean,
Yeah. I mean,
you
this
do
is-
have. There is. This is a target-rich environment. Okay.
Don't you guys still have inspiration?
Yeah, I rolled a 13 and 11 though, so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Were you using your inspiration on that, Robar? Was it-
No.
Okay. All right. Righty. So, okay, that attempted blow goes wide. Now the bad guys go. These rolls, I know, Thorg. These rolls. Let's see. First goblin is going to be a 16 to hit, Robar.
Ow!
A 6 and a 13. So those other ones are misses, but
Just a 16.
the
Or
one that hits is going to be.
I might do it though.
That's 4 damage.
Ooh! Okay.
Okay.
7 hit points.
Okay.
Looking
This
pretty
guy
bloody
is
right now.
charging in. Let's see. Tawny Bear. Oh, that's okay. Clearly a 5 is not going to get it done. A 12 and a 4. Okay, so they both miss on our good friend Andy down there. Okay, and then you hear there is a shout of triumph, and there's a yell from the center of the camp, and it is not a human yell. So it depends. You guys could, if you wish, glance over your shoulders briefly. You won't take any if you want to do that.
Oh yeah, I totally do that.
Yeah, Inga, your ghost glances over her shoulder and just sees more ghosts.
Not dead yet.
I know. So you glance over your shoulder to see several goblins emerging from beneath the wagon.
Okay. Bad news.
This is not good. Okay. And right, that brings us back up to Inga. Inga, death saving throw the second.
Do not roll a natural 1.
You can use inspiration on this, I do wish to point out, if you are
I
inspired.
don't have inspiration.
Chat, does anyone want to inspire Inga's death roll? Her death saving roll? Or do you want to save it for the... You could try to save it, but the thing is, if she gets a 1, then, well...
She does.
Yes. So this might be a time... If anyone wanted to inspire her, this might be the time to do it.
Want to inspire me, or something. It goes the other way around, actually. But please, somebody.
Inspired. All right, chat's not frozen now. Chat is frozen in anticipation. Chat's like, there's Nonstop coming through. Nonstop with the inspiration. All right.
Now just don't roll double net ones.
Thanks, Nonstop. Yes, that would be bad. Yes, if that's the case, then it's time for a new character. Okay.
I don't want a new character.
Make it happen, Inga.
Yes.
Use your dwarven powers.
Oh god, a 6.
Remember, you're rolling 2.
Fine.
You're rolling
Okay.
2, remember?
18!
Hey, there you go. All right, so
Yes!
that's one
Thank you,
success to
Nonstop.
one.
You saved
So that's one success to one failure. So you've got 1 success, 1 failure. If you get 2 more successes, you're out of danger. If you get 2 more failures, well, we already know about that. So success 1. Now
don't
that
wanna
is
know
unless
about
one of
that.
your companions can get to you and stabilize you, which and that might include then the NPCs. We'll see what Ingar is going to do.
But if you do have to roll up a new character, just make a twin to Inga, whose name is Unga, that she didn't know she had. But she's exactly the same, except for one.
Just with a different hat.
Right.
Exactly. Okay.
That's how we do it in LARPing here.
Right.
When your character dies, you just bring a second hat just in case your character dies.
Just in case, right? So, okay, the orc moves in now. You can see that it's got kind of... Actually, Robar can't see it because he's not focused, so never mind. Inga, if you were alive, you would see that he had a bent sword. But he misses Ingar terribly with that attempted sword. This one is moving, apparently, towards Bill, who is facing the other direction. This one is going to close on you, Tawny Bear. Oh, and critically hits. So that's the second. Is that the second crit hit on you?
It's the first hit on me at all.
First hit on you at all. Okay.
Oh, I got crit. Yeah.
You got crit. Okay, sorry. I get confused. So many party members, so little time. So many crit hits. Okay, 5 points of damage to you, Tawny Bear.
Okay.
All right, as he strikes you solidly. Ah! And then this one is not there yet, but he's closing in. Okay, now Ubhers is going to roll away on you. Literally roll away. You know. Let's see. So we've got a 10, and the second one is a 13. Robar?
No, AC 14.
Wow. All right, just misses you, like in front, sort of not happily. Ingar. Oh wow. Ingar with the very, very high rolls today.
Yeah, he's a high roller.
Okay. He hits Ubhers again. Ubhers now is sort of staggering around. You can see that he's getting, that he's losing blood rapidly. He's kind of like breathing heavily, looking around him with hatred. Tawny Bear, you're up.
Oh. Okay. So, So since Portal Andy is dealing with 3 of these. Oh, Don, that's how I missed these. I'm gonna take a shot at Mr. Orc here.
Okay.
Schmack. 14.
That will hit.
Cool.
Yes.
7.
All right. Good solid hit.
A most palpable hit.
Most palpable hit, yes. He staggers back. That was a good solid blow. Kind of like growls at you angrily.
Yes.
Okay. Now the guards. Bill is going to fire away again. Misses, like, literally the arrow shoots between the orc and Ubhers, and his leader orc, basically. Oh, man. Tom continues to struggle over here as he's locked in combat with that guard. With that goblin, I mean. Andy is having the same problems. Andy has just not been able to get out of the single digits on the rolling side. Okay, Robar, you are facing an almost dead Ubhers.
All right. I'm gonna give it to him, and I'm gonna really try this time. Really believe myself.
Really try. Are you gonna?
Before?
Are
It
you?
was kind of 50-50.
Are you now actually using your?
half-assing it?
Are you using your inspiration now?
I'm gonna use my inspiration as I look down at Ingo. I say, "You're not dying on me," and then on a 19
That's a hit.
for 7 damage.
All right, you strike a solid blow, and he staggers back. And then he falls backwards and crushes a goblin behind him on the ground, and just like rolls over once more, and then lies flat on the hill, dead. Almost immediately as he does that, the drums stop, and there's this sort of silence. There's this long silence for a second, and then you hear this mournful, almost a horn, and the goblins sort of back up several steps, and you see the orc sort of back up a step, and then basically just book it, just running like as fast as they can away from the fort.
I pick up the head and I toss it at them as they're running, and I go to pick up Ingo.
Okay. All right. So.
Stay with me, Ingo.
Okay. These guys. All right.
The dragon shows up.
Right, exactly. Then the dragon appears.
Nice, Mal.
Do
Okay,
not.
let's see.
Trend him, do not.
That was Robar. All right. I will give you an opportunity here to stabilize her. So you're going to need to make a medicine check for me.
All right.
Please.
14.
Yep. Okay. You stabilize Inga. She seems to be out of danger, or at least so it appears. But as you sort of take stock of the situation, you're all sort of breathing heavily. Andy sort of looks back at you, Tawny Bear, with a grin and says, I'll be damned. We did
Very
it, sir.
Yeah, back to the fire. Come on.
Okay, so you guys turn and head back to the fire, but you see that this has not been without cost. Tom is lying face down, motionless, in a pool of blood. His axe is below him.
Is it his blood?
Yeah, it sure doesn't look like orc blood. Or goblin blood. And Ingar sort of comes over to you and says, "Is she all right?" Is saying that to you, Robar.
I try and I can pick up Ingo, right?
Well,
She's heavy, but
she's heavy and she wears full armor. So
Just drag her by the beard.
It depends. Can you tell me?
Don't you
You tell me. Can you pick her up? Are you inspired enough? I don't mean mechanically to pick her up.
I think so. Yeah, I think in the moment, adrenaline pounding, everything's going right now. Robar probably wouldn't normally be able to carry her.
Make it happen. Then you were able to pick her up, and you go with her. And as Ingar comes in, he sees the sort of look. He says, "Ah!" and he runs over and he kneels down beside Tom, and is silent for a while. and you, Robar, bring sort of Inga inside the fort. There's now a silence there. Tawny Bear, as you come in to the center of the circle, you sort of look around you and you realize that you have repulsed the attack and you've destroyed their chief. But you realize that that not everything has happened the way you had hoped, because below the wagon is a large earthen tunnel that is descending into the earth, and Dindy is gone. And with that, we will close up our session. Yeah, exactly. With that, we will close our session for today. Wow, guys, nice work. You repelled an assault, but what happened to Dindy? And what about Tom? Poor
What
Tom.
about the crumpets?
What about the crumpets and the tea?
The tea.
Yeah. Good
Oh,
stuff, though,
man.
guys. That
Good
was rough. I was not 100% sure how that was going to work. What I was actually worried you guys were going to do was you were going to stop attacking Ubhurs, and then that was going to be a problem, because you were going to get overwhelmed in every other way. And so you actually pegged it right on at the very beginning, Will, that one of the best ways to deal with them was to cut off the head of the snake. So
Yeah, it
Yeah.
seemed
We are
like I
all
could
drawn
have
or savvy.
waited.
It's amazing how well that works sometimes.
Yep. Inga, and a good fight from all of you guys, actually. Inga did some serious work before getting smoked, getting hit twice.
It was
by,
worth it.
It was worth it, yeah.
It may
you were-
have saved us all yet.
Yeah, you tanked a
Well,
lot of
most
damage.
of us.
Yeah, that was some serious work. It would have helped if the guards could have rolled out of single digits. Like, Bill had a hit or two, but most of the guards were utterly useless. Ingar, on the other hand, was a badass. Like, Ingar was
he
just
nailed
like
it.
hitting everything, but the guards were just... The guards were guards. Narratively, this makes complete sense. Like, really. By the way, one other thing I want to note quickly, Tren, if Tawny Bear had not made that medicine check, he wouldn't have been in that fight, and, well... I don't know that you guys survive it if Ingar hadn't been fighting with you guys, as it turned out.
Yeah.
So that was a pretty clutch medicine check. So good stuff, guys. Ingar stole all the good rolls. That's exactly right. So you'll have to see what happens with Dindy with the next round. And this is a good chance to make our announcement before I close up shop, which is to say that, folks, you will be seeing a fourth player join our intrepid crew next month. And for those of you who missed this announcement, I am pleased to announce
Ian
that...
Holmes.
Amal El Motar, who is an award-winning Canadian author, she is a Hugo Award winner, actually, Nebula Award winner, and so forth, is going to be joining our party. She is going to be the fourth player in our little band, and she will be joining up with them as of next session. How they meet her, we will actually see, but I am very excited about it. I actually saw her, I was on a panel with her, actually, at CanCon. We'd been talking about this before, and so she confirmed that that is going to happen. I do want to warn everybody that in terms of time and so forth, there may be some schedule adjustments to these sessions in a couple of months. We're talking about that as a group right now, but I don't believe any of the party here intends to stop completely, because I get the impression everyone is having some fun. So we are going to do our best. But just be aware and sort of follow the channel and, all that kind of stuff to see these things are happening. So, but yes, Amal is joining, and yeah, that's some serious hype. I'm really excited about it. It's going to be great. I've been having a great time with these guys anyway. They've been doing a wonderful job as a party. I just think it'll be a nice addition to the mix. And they probably won't mind having a fourth person to absorb multiple goblin and orc attacks, as well. So we'll see what happens next time. But good session today, guys. That was a lot of fun. Let's start with Terry Toons all the way down to the bottom. Terry, thank you so much. Good work in both killing and surviving almost being killed. Where will we see you next?
I'm actually not sure when you will see me next. I don't know what you have planned for me. And before anything else, I want to thank Nonstop for saving me.
Yeah, Nonstop,
that
dude.
Could have gone,
That's like a clutch
Chelsea.
inspiration. Nonstop with, I feel like Nonstop, every time he inspires someone, it always works. Like, that doesn't always happen, but for Nonstop, like, his inspirations are super useful. So yeah, thanks, Nonstop.
Yes. But yeah, I don't have anything specifically planned. Oh, I do have a convention in December, actually, which is not so far off now that
Nice.
I think about it. Yes, I think on the first December weekend I will be attending the Comic-Con in Dortmund in Germany, if anybody wants to come by. I know there are like some German
Yeah.
watchers here. Like yesterday I found out that apparently Chaotix lives like literally one town over. From
Oh,
where I
nice.
am.
Nice. Awesome.
So that's a thing. Yeah, that's and otherwise I don't know when and what the next plan is for the next what's it called? Choose Your Own Adventure live stream. Like
Right.
I think we are not going to do Fighting Fantasy this time. It was a different system.
We are going to be right. We're actually doing, I think we're doing a Lone Wolf one this time coming up, which is going to be kind of cool, actually, just to mix things up a little bit. So, yeah.
What's the date for that? Do we have a date?
Don't have a date yet. It'll definitely be a Tuesday, but I don't know yet. It depends kind of on how you guys, because I have to schedule you guys first, and then Fighting Fantasy will come after that. So, best guess would be, I'd rather do it earlier rather than later, but soon, hopefully. So.
But yeah, thank you very much for having me. This was a lot of fun, very intense.
Yeah, it was definitely intense, but you guys made it. Good timing on finishing the fight just in time. And also taking some hits and dealing out some damage and having a very variegated, lots of things going on session is Will. Will, great job today. And where will the fine people see you next, sir?
Yeah. No, that was a lot of fun. That was intense. We haven't had a lot of combat in this campaign, which I've enjoyed. But when we do get to combat, it's been quite intense the past few weeks. So
which is kind of like Tolkien in general, actually.
Yeah,
when combat happens, it's like no joke when it happens.
Yeah. We were talking about that after the last session, actually. So I'm glad we're fighting orcs, taking names. But yeah, you can find me on Encounter Roleplay. I'll be on in a couple hours' time. I start at 5 tonight. Over here, I'll say hey in chat if you want daily D&D and all that good stuff. Well, actually, today we went 100% ad-free on YouTube and Twitch and Twitter and website and stuff like that. So that's kind of exciting. Well, you can also find me on the D&D channel every Saturday at 6 p.m. Eastern, where I do a Learn by Play series. So yeah, you can find me all about the internet. Search into most websites, Encounter Roleplay. Be sure to be in incognito mode when you do so, and you'll find me. Yeah.
And reminder that Will and I and Dave from the Digital
27.
DM and Askren from Exploding Dice will be doing our inaugural DM show, which will be done once a month, our DM roundtable. That'll be called Masters of the Dungeon, and that is happening, yes, Friday the 27th. So you will definitely see Will for that. Thank you, Will. And last but certainly not least, someone who was very active on the healing side, healed a horse, healed, was able to heal a fellow Bjorning, which turned out to be really clutch in that fight, and got some blows in. So a variegated experience for Tawny Bear. Trend, good job today. And where will the fine people see you next, sir?
You said that thing is on Friday the 27th, right?
Friday the 27th, yes.
So the next day, Friday the 28th, is when we have our D&D game.
Saturday the 28th is correct. But also, don't forget next Saturday for our vocalists. And that group. The voice actor people.
Those people. Right. Oh, right. I'm one of those people. Okay. Right. Yeah. So that's what day did you say that was?
That's the 21st, I believe.
The week before.
The week before. This coming Saturday.
Right. That thing that I should just let him do the outro because there again. There. See, she's turning into a blueberry. She does this. She switches over to some webpage. She's Violet.
No, I just switched between the stream and the Roll20 page.
And turning into a blueberry.
Look, you just worry about your own fruit, okay? Your own fruit face blueberry thing.
Okay. So yeah, I since I didn't say who I was before the game, I played Tawny Bear today, and he's predominantly a healer, which is exactly what I wanted him to be. But he doesn't really have cleric armor, so with an AC of 12, he's going to be taking some hits probably here and there. And so yeah, I'm a voice actor personage, and work with him a lot. But I'm also going to be doing the narrations for Shadowrun and BattleTech novels coming up in the very near future.
Ooh. Yes, super exciting. I'm very pumped up to hear those.
Me too.
Yeah, I know, man. I know. I'm very excited on your behalf. And he's also going to be he will be the voice of the Gray Shade audiobook as well, which will be coming soon too.
I think I have about 2 or 3 days worth of work left before I'm finished.
Yeah, so that's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to, again, you guys, when you hear it, you will be, I hope you'll be as impressed as I was, because I think you did a great job. So, but this was a great session now, you guys. I really had fun, and I am looking forward to figuring out what happened at Dindy, and what do you guys do with the Aftermath, and Tom, and Inga, and all that stuff. So it's going to be a good time. But for now, I will let you guys go, and I will close up shop. So thanks to you guys. Chat, can we get some love for our players today? Great work, and I will see you all at the various places. Thanks, everyone.
Goodbye.
Be careless.
All right, there they go. And I see the love coming up in chat, or I believe I see the love, if I'm not mistaken. And there is that. All right. And there we go. So, that was good times, people. I'm sorry it's so bright, but it's actually bright in my room as we speak, so it's like the shining of doom. But that was a great time, guys, so I really enjoyed that quite a bit. I am going to be taking a break now, and then I will be back over at GOG, as per usual, at 4 p.m. Eastern, where I will be doing episode 99 of Pen and Pixels, which is my story and narrative-based show that I do on GOG for story and narrative-based games. I am in the home stretch of Star Trek Judgment Rights. I'll either be finishing that up today or during the next session, so one of the next 2 sessions I will finish up Judgment Rights, at which point I will probably be doing a series of the game Vaporum, which is going to be fun, so I'm looking forward to that. If you liked what you saw and heard here, I want to point out that, again, Saturday we do have the Our Vocalist and voice actors coming up, but Friday, before that, we've got something else, and that is D&D with viewers. If you like what you saw and you're like, man, I'd like to play a game with Arv and have, fun and play D&D, you can do that. On Friday, we're going to be doing one of my special one-shot D&D adventures with viewers. So what you need to do is to have a webcam. Hopefully, you need to have some knowledge of D&D. Hopefully, you need to absolutely be a nice person who can get along with others. And if you can do those things, and you can spare a few hours on a Friday night, then definitely consider stopping by for the D&D with viewers session, which will be happening this Friday. So D&D with viewers on Friday. Our Vocalists, with a new guest, by the way, a guest star in the Our Vocalist, a possible new permanent member will be joining us on Saturday. And then the following Tuesday will be that. Now, actually, I just remembered, I completely forgot that we were doing this, but I do have this one thing I need to do. And that is, thank you, GW0. One thing that I wanted to point out, I almost forgot about this. Nominations. Nominations. Let us get that set up, because it is nominations for the game of the month. So let me, hold on a second. Let me exit out of here. Lovely. We have to have nominations for the chat chosen game of the month, and that was supposed to happen today. So I want to make sure I don't forget about that. There's this. And not that. How about that? Is that it? There we go. Let's run that. And hold on a second. There we go. Lovely. All right. Now we've got that, and now I just need to pop that up there. Huzzah! There we are. Okay. So what we're going to do, guys, is... So I'm going to put up the nominations for the chat chosen game of the month. And in just a minute, I'm going to open up these nominations. You guys will have a chance to nominate just one nomination per person, a game that you'd like me to play. Then you guys will get a chance to vote on this. The top 3 will go into a straw poll. And next week, we will actually have the final vote for that. So next week, we will have the final vote on what game should be played for the chat chosen game of the month. I do want to point out that in 2 weeks, it'll be Halloween as well. I do, however, hate horror games and will not play them. Spooky games are cool. Horror games are not. I will not play horror games. So I reserve the right to veto if otherwise. And it doesn't have to be. It can be whatever you guys would actually like. So So let's do it up. So we're going to start with Loom. Terry Tunes chooses Loom. I will take the next 5 nominations. 5 nominations for games. I can play console games. Pretty much I can play PS4 games. I can play Virtual Console on the Wii U. I can play games on the Retron, my Retron 5, and obviously PC games. There are games that I'm planning to play, and if you take a look at your schedule, you could do that. Yeah, Grim Fandango. Are you actually voting for that? Lands of Lore. What is the Journey Down trending? What is that? Is that a horror game? And or does it involve raisins? Because because if either of those is true. Life is Strange, I want to pass on, Shadzar. I've already played Life is Strange some. I played a part of episode 1. It was okay, but not really my thing. Okay, cool. Then I will take the Journey Down. Arv, look. Look at what? What, beautiful bear? Growlancer 2? Is that true, or are you joking? What is Growlancer 2? Is that an actual choice? Beautiful bear. I need that gif of Steve Carell from The Office going, no, God, no, no, no. I need that gif. You're in chapter 3 of The Journey Down. Ooh. Okay. That's cool. The Long Dark. That's not a bad choice. I know about The Long Dark as a possibility. Oh, man. Okay. We got Loom, Lands of Lore, The Journey Down, Growlancer 2. We got a lot of L's. Loom, Lands of Lore, Lancer 2, Long Dark. And I need one more. One more nomination. And just one nomination per person, please. Star Trek Elite Force. Is that the real-time strategy? Or is it an FPS? X5? I mean, either one of those is fine. It's Star Trek, so obviously it's got that going for it from the very beginning. It's an FPS. That's fine. Okay, there we go. All right, I'm going to open this poll, guys. There we go. So you guys are going to vote. One of the best Trek games? Okay, cool. All right, you guys are going to vote. So get your votes in now. Loom, Lands of Lore, The Journey Down, Growlancer 2, The Long Dark, Star Trek Elite Force. And you can vote with $, vote, space, and then the number corresponding to the one that you want. And the top 3 are going to get, the top 3 are going to be the ones that go to the straw poll. So vote now. Hey, Zergy, what's up? So far, we have a lot of split votes. Brahms is in there with Growlancer 2. What's up, Elias? Wow, we got no consensus here on this one. All right, we got a couple votes for Loom. Couple votes for Growlancer, couple votes for Elite Force. So we now have 2, 2, and 2, and 1, 1, and 1. All right, we've got Loom, Long Dark, and Star Trek Elite Force. And if one of my mods, either Demiser or Thorg, I know Thorg is in here. Thorg, if you're able to put together a straw poll, if you wouldn't mind being willing to do a straw poll based on, now we haven't come up with a decision yet, but when we figure out who the top 3 are, if you could do a straw poll and then, you know, do the thing where we hook it up to the, what is it? Next game, command in chat, I would be super appreciative. Lands of Lore. Lands of Lore getting some love. And I have played Lands of Lore in the past. Thank you for the follow, Baker. All right, so we've got Star Trek Elite Force, Lands of Lore with 3 votes each. Then we got Loom and Long Dark with 2 votes each. All right, I'm going to last call this. All right, if we could get a tiebreak between Loom and Long Dark so that we had a nice, clear, easy 3, that would be lovely. It looks like Lands of Lore and Elite Force are going to be in the top 3. Loom and Long Dark are there as possibilities as well. I mean, if we absolutely had to, we could go with 4 in the straw poll, but I usually like to go with 3. So... Anybody? Anybody, 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 anybody. Three, 3, 2, and 2. All right, last chance here. Anyone want to make a change vote? Stick with your vote, change your vote, add a vote? Anyone else? This is just the nominating round, but of course you can't get a vote in there if you don't nominate first, so. Oh, no, 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 no. I don't want to say that, X5. I do not wish to influence the vote. Other than, if there was one of these that I said I would absolutely not play, then I will definitely say that. But otherwise, I stay out of it because it's your guys' decision on this one, me. Understood, beautiful bear. Yeah. That's kind of funny. Shadzar's like, persuade you? Canadian survival. I mean, what else needs to be said? Loom is a very famous adventure game from LucasArts, like point and click, which... it's a point-and-click adventure game, which is famous. I've never played it. I've heard many good things about Loom. Grows is big about it, and I know that Terry has been wanting me to play Loom for a long time. So those are incentives for Loom. All right. Thank you very much for the follow. Ellen is online. Thank you for the follow. All right, there we go. I'm going to close this poll. There we go, guys. So, Loom, Lands of Lore, and Star Trek Elite Force. Those are 3 good choices. Loom, Lands of Lore, and Star Trek Elite Force. There we go. Those are the 3 choices making the nominating round. So, if someone could do this, although I actually don't know... Is someone able to make, because I think all my mods bailed on me, is someone able to make a straw poll for me? Would someone be willing to do that? Just like make a straw poll and then we'll link it later on. Would people be willing to do that? Oh, there's Thorg. Never mind. There's Thorg. Sorry, dude. I didn't see you there. So there is this vote. There is the straw poll vote. And can you link that, Thorg, to the next game thing? Could you do that for me? Elite Force, Loom, and Lands of Lore. Now's your chance, folks. Now, we are going to keep this vote up. We're going to keep this vote going. Sorry. We're going to keep this vote going until next week. So next Monday is when the final vote will be. So you will have a chance to get your vote in, if you so wish it, up until then. No, they didn't bail on me. I should have realized. They wouldn't. They did not bail on me. It's fine. All right, it's going to be good. I'm looking forward to seeing which one of these wins. I would be happy with any of these. I've played and won Lands of Lore. I liked it a lot. I have never played either Loom or Star Trek Elite Force. I think I've seen a little bit of Elite Force being played. I've never seen any of Loom being played. So I would be happy with any of these. Any of these would be great. Yeah, that's just because I was shutting Arbot down, so that's why. All right, cool, guys. So if you're able to link it, that would be lovely, Thorg. All you have to do is click on that link. There's no vote on this one now, JLC, because we closed it down. So all you need to do is go on this. Damn it. Shoot. That vote that I already lost the thing for. Oh, wait, there it is. Right there. You can click on that, and that will allow you to vote. Thorg is going to link this, and I'm going to bookmark this just in case. Going forward. All right. So that's what it is. So there's no vote 5 on this one, JLC, because we already closed down the ARVBot thing. So you just need to go to the straw poll. You just need to click on the link and go to the straw poll, and then you can vote for it on that website. So ARVBot, only the $ vote thing is only for ARVBot, and we don't have ARVBot going because we finished the nominating round. So, but that is going to do it for me. I'm going to be back up at the top of the hour on GOG.com doing more Star Trek Judgment Rights. I want to thank everyone, particularly my players, Trendane Will and Terry Tunes, for a great time tonight. I really enjoyed it. I hope they did too. Hope you guys enjoyed this as well, and we'll spread the word accordingly. Again, make sure to follow the channel if you haven't done so already. Please check out the Steam group with ! Steam group, the YouTube with ! ArvTube, the Discord with ! Discord, and of course, please support the channel if you can. Subtember, we had a couple of new subs today and a couple of resubs as well. If you are subbing to the channel for the first time, it is half off until tomorrow, so you're almost out of time to do that. So take advantage of the last days of Subtember and support the channel if you can by subbing, and or support the channel by giving to this Patreon, because the Patreon will also help, especially for inspirations. That thing that saved Inga today came from Nonstop, and that inspiration was thanks to his support of the Patreon. So if you guys are able to do that, that would be lovely if you're able to. It's never required, but is always appreciated. No raid today because I am going to be over at GOG in about 35 minutes or so, where I'll be playing the last session of Star Trek Judgment Rights. So until next time, everybody, hopefully at GOG tonight, but if not, I'll see you guys Friday for some D&D with viewers. Thanks to everybody. Love you all. You're the best viewers on Twitch. And thank you to Cubicle 7 as well, our official sponsor for the Adventures of Middle-earth campaign. Lots more D&D to come this month. Thank you all to everyone who supported and watched and did all this cool stuff. And I will catch all of you wonderful people soon. Until then, be good to each other. Have a good day.